Your morning just got more interesting. Distilled and barrel-picked for your listening pleasure. Bo Bishop, a local sports media legend. What William T. Sherman was to the Union Army, he is to Northern College football. A husband, a father, and middling youth sports coach. He's friends with Central Ohio sporting royalty.
I'm talking to Ohio State Athletic Director Ross Bjork. Coach Day walking on with us right now. Good to see you, buddy. Good buddy Austin Ward. My good buddy Tim May, the Tim May Show. The great Doug Lavery's joining us.
Hi, everybody. Dom Tiberi here.
Oh, Reese came in and he handed me papers.
Yeah.
And then he said, "You see that button? That's the only button you need to worry about. Don't touch. There's 8,000 buttons in front of me." Oh, I didn't know what he was talking about.
The one that says on.
We blew the budget on this imaging, and only two guys answered our ad on Craigslist. Ryan Baker and Eric Reeser. Act accordingly. You're now listening to Bishop and Friends.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years.
Let's do it live on a First Friday Miracle edition of the program. Bo and the boys with you for the next three. Ryan Day caught up with, or rather Dom caught up with Ryan Day. I guess it could be vice versa, either one. They caught up with each other. We'll have some of that for you at 9:30, 10 o'clock. Ross Bjork on the college football playoff schedule that needs to be adjusted. We're a big fan of Mr. Bjork around here, so that's something that we're going to be very, very interested in. Jake Trotter going to stop by at 10:30, 11 o'clock, a little bit of Hey Guys. Still time to get your questions in. The winner there gets the $50 gift card to our great friends at High Bank and the Distillery Tour as well. 11:30, Nate Davis with the biggest NFL draft bus. Nate Davis of USA Today will join us, get you officially endorsed at the end of the program, as it is a First Friday. You guys have seen these the clips going around of the John Gruden quarterback camp. We actually played some of this audio from his quarterback camp with Will, and we've talked about some of the stuff that he did with Kyle McCord as well. But the one that kind of got my attention, and as we're a day out of the NFL draft, is one that I just can't stop thinking about, is the one he did with Quinn Ewers. So Quinn is sitting across from Gruden, and Gruden explains about what he asked him the question. He says, "Why would you miss your senior year of high school? Like, you're the dude." And Quinn said, "Well, I had a $1.4 million memorabilia deal in front of me. And the state of Texas would not allow him as a high school player to make that money." I mean, we all know the story. We lived it, and that's how he ended up here a year early. What was Ohio State supposed to do? Say, we love you, we want you, we just wanted you to wait a year so that we could have a little bit of separation in this class. No, you take him. He was the perfect prospect after all. He was the 1,000 rated player, the absolutely perfect prospect at the quarterback position. So he comes here, and everybody knows how that goes. And it was probably somewhat fitting that his college career ended against Ohio State. So there's that part of it as well. But the part that I found most fascinating, there are two things. Number one, anybody out there, and we hear this all the time, talk about how they're turned off by all of this. If it was your son or daughter, and they were in the spot Quinn Ewers was in as a 17-year-old rising senior high school football quarterback, and you're the number one player in the country, and you're offered $1.4 million for a memorabilia deal, and God knows what else opened up from that. I mean, he did as with Reichert, he had the kombucha deal. As a 17-year-old, he was multiple $1 million of endorsements. You would all mostly do the same thing. You would take it. And you'd say, "Let's do this. Let's go ahead. Let's get this clock moving." Go ahead, Reese.
Especially if Ohio State's waiting for you, sure, and they've got a spot open, and you can go and sit under the Ryan Day quarterback tree. Like, it's one thing to have the NIL package, to have the $1.4 million valuation staring at you in the face, but to know you can take that and go learn to play quarterback at Ohio State. Like, everybody takes that. 10 of 10 say, go and do that.
Yeah, he's, when you look back on it, he's pretty lucky that Texas was there waiting. I mean, his talent was his talent, but for various reasons, it was, I don't know who knows what happened. He got sick in camp and was here for a blink and then gone, and was transferred out by the time, I think it was right after the Michigan game, he was gone. And that was it, and never to be heard from again. So not here, at least. Obviously went to Texas and had a landing spot. But the 1.4 is interesting, and the perfect prospect's interesting to me. And the reason that it's kind of all coming home to roost is we have quarterbacks who our tentacles are on all over day 2 and potentially day 3 of this NFL draft. In Quinn Ewers, who was here, Kyle McCord, who was here, and Will Howard, who did the most while he was here. How they were viewed, I have in front of me how they were rated as high school players. So Quinn Ewers, number one player in the country, perfect prospect, so forth and so on. $1.4 million as a 17-year-old, probably made $10 million or better playing college quarterback at Texas. Quinn Ewers is thought by most to be, of the guys that I'm going to mention here, the last one picked. And I've got 7 guys that I want to go through here quickly. But that is known. So Kyle McCord. Most people think Kyle, there's people who are really high on him. Kyle could be a day 2 guy. He might have been a day 2 guy. Kyle was a 4-star quarterback. He was the number 8 quarterback in the country coming out of high school. Will Howard was a 3-star quarterback, number 13 pro-style quarterback in the country. Remember how I mentioned how Quinn was a perfect 100 on the 24/7 ratings? Will Howard was an 88 on those ratings. He was the number 13 quarterback in the country. He held offers from Kansas State and Harvard and those type of places. He was not a blue chip recruit by any means, and he may end up being drafted before both of them. The next 4 guys are all going to be drafted before any of the 3 that I just mentioned. Let's start with Jalen Milroe. Jalen Milroe was a 4-star quarterback out of high school, number 14 overall quarterback in the class, and a 94 rated overall. Very similar, ironically enough, and I think it's between these two will be the 3rd quarterback taken, Jackson Dart, 4-star quarterback, number 13 quarterback overall in the country, number 94 rating for him, so significantly more. Now, the quarterback who I think is going to go second is Shadur Sanders. Shadur was a 3-star quarterback out of high school. He was the number 37 quarterback in the country. So remember, we had 100 rating for Quinn. This is pretty wild. Shadur and Will Howard were rated exactly the same by 24/7. They were both 88 overall players coming out of high school. So they were both 88s, and Shadur was a 3-star. Guess where Cam Ward was ranked? Who's going to go number 1 overall tomorrow night?
I'm going to guess he was a 2-star and ranked like in the hundreds.
Bake?
I was going to say probably the lowest of all of them that are going to get drafted.
Definitely the lowest.
He's unranked. 0 stars.
Mm-hmm.
None. Zip. Zilch. Nada.
Guess that explains Wazoo.
And Incarnate Word before that.
That's right.
Yeah. Incarnate Word before that. So I did this exercise, and I was curious about this exercise because of Quinn, first and foremost, because this first time he's publicly said like what that offer was and what it was for, that it was for memorabilia. I think we all thought it was the kombucha stuff first, but it was the memorabilia first at 1.4. So that got me thinking about this. And then I also think I think that the feeling that you probably have is, boy, they really screw this thing up. I actually think it's the opposite. They ranked 7 high school kids who are going to get drafted. I didn't do Tyler Shuck. I didn't do some of the other guys who were going to get picked as well. And there's Dylan Gabriel. There's plenty of them. I just did 7 of them, and I think they'll be the first 7 ones off the board, and Shuck would be in this list too. They're all going to be drafted. Like, the idea being that they blew it on Quinn, they didn't. The high school analysis of these guys was pretty good. Almost all of these guys were ranked. Shadur is the lowest ranked in terms of like the quarterback position at number 37 overall. Cam's unranked, period. So he's the anomaly. The rest of them, they're all going to be drafted. These are kids who people identified as 16 and 17-year-olds that could play the position. They had varying degrees of college success and sometimes at multiple stops, but they're all going to get drafted. And most likely, I think there's a pretty good chance all of them are going to be drafted by Friday night. The irony of it is that potentially Quinn would be the one who might get to Saturday. Maybe Will does too, who knows? But if you were a betting man, you'd say the odds are the one that most likely to get to Saturday is probably Quinn Ewers. And he was the one who was number 1 overall. The one that stands out, the anomaly, is Cam Ward. Like, that doesn't happen. You don't go from nobody knowing who you are to number 1 overall pick in the draft anymore. And he did it by betting on himself, by improving and getting better, this is a guy who in the transfer portal a year ago has said, I just need the most money I can get. I need to max it out. I'm a 4th, 5th round pick by the NFL standards. And boy, did he. He went to Miami. They took care of him financially. Now all of a sudden he's going to go number 1 overall. And it's not only number 1 overall, guys, it's number 1 overall, and it's a no-brainer number 1 overall. Now, I'm not convinced of it. I heard Bob talking this morning on Juice. I'm with him. I have no idea if Cam Ward's going to be a hit or not. No clue. But he's going to get picked number 1 overall. And this is a kid 5 years ago who was not even rated in recruiting. But the rest of these guys, the recruiting services got right. If you are identifying a kid as a 16 or 17-year-old as a 4 or 5-star kid or a top 15 quarterback in the country, and 4 or 5 years later that kid is drafted, you did it right. You did it right. There are far more hits than there are misses in this game, guys. And we can identify these quarterbacks sooner than later. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to translate to NFL success right away, but we know who the good ones are. And it played out that way.
Bo, you talking about this, to me, it's the thing that I'm most curious about with the NFL draft this year is where Will Howard goes and where Kyle McCord goes and how their careers translate to, or how their games translate to the NFL and what they will be moving forward. I know we've talked a lot about Will Howard and fits for him. And one of the places that we've said would be a fit, and I think it'd be a fit for any quarterback, right? You go to the Rams, you sit behind Stafford, you get to learn from Sean McVay. I think that is the absolute perfect spot for Kyle McCord because McCord is a quarterback who is not mobile, has a lot of arm talent, and I'm not saying he's Matt Stafford, but he's pretty similar to Matt Stafford. And if he could go there and learn from a Matt Stafford and kind of see the game a little bit like Stafford does, work with McVay, I think that's a lottery ticket for Kyle McCord especially.
Well, what you just described is what every single one of these guys would want, with the exception of Ward, who's going to go number 1 overall. But I could say what you just described is exactly what Shadur is hoping for, right? I'm sure he would love to play for the Browns and Stefanski. I'm sure he would. Maybe not at 2, because if you get Travis Hunter and then come back and get him, that offense fits who he is. The offense you just described with the Rams fits who Kyle McCord, Will Howard are. Those are offenses that put the quarterback in the best position to succeed and don't ask too much of them outside of structure. And those are offense. That's Green Bay, that's San Francisco, that's the Rams, it's the Browns, it's the Vikings.
And like for Will Howard, to me, obviously there's the connection with Chip Kelly. But I feel like the Raiders is a perfect spot for Will Howard because I feel like Geno Smith and Will Howard are kind of similar in their games. Mobile, maybe not the strongest arm, maybe guys that are going to have a slow start to their career, but will continue to work hard, good leaders. And so it is. I think with a lot of these guys, unless you are the upper echelon dude at a quarterback where it doesn't matter where you go, you're going to make it work. I feel like that fit with this position more than any is so key.
It is. It's the whole thing is, do you land in a right spot that'll nurture you? There's a lot of rumors circulating on the NFL draft. We will update you on the very latest of all of it, including potentially a big trade involving the Dallas Cowboys. Was Bruce Trennan right? We'll get to that coming up next. Bishop and Fred's right here on The Fan.
Wake up with The Fan. Eat lunch with The Fan. Go to bed with The Fan. Dream about The Fan. Then change your sheets. Gross.
Ew, you guys are gross, but stick around in case I don't find anyone else.
The Fan.
This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health, where our erectile dysfunction treatments are shown to be effective in nearly 90% of cases. Listen to what Alex has to say about our ED treatments.
I have been experiencing problems with ED, but that's all changed. My name's Alex, and I've been a patient for Tri-State Men's Health for under a year. I highly recommend this. Every day I wake up feeling good compared to I was back in the old days. It change is more exciting. You know, I don't have a problem with ED anymore. I'm having a lot more fun. I was very comfortable. I was always comfortable in any conversation I had with Tri-State Men's Health. Yeah, I just want to let gentlemen out there know that you do not have to live with ED, that it is not just an aging process. It is also hormonal and balance and everything in your system. And once you get that under control and everything, you do go back to your youth a lot in how you feel.
Thanks, Alex. It's true. If you're like most men, we'll help you get your sex life back. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com.
Okay, so I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. Wendy's has this new Cajun Crunch chicken sandwich. And to be honest, I'm kind of crushing hard on this Sammy. It's packed with bold Cajun flavors and topped with crispy onions for a satisfying crunch. All on Wendy's iconic spicy chicken sandwich. It's honestly kind of my dream sandwich. I hope it likes me back. For a sandwich you'll love, gotta be Wendy's. Open till midnight or later.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's. Hours may vary by location.
Hey there, friends. Bo Bishop here. Spring weather has arrived, and we all know what that brings. Warmer weather and severe storms. Well, when bad weather hits, we all know it can cause leaky roofs or even damage to your siding and gutters. The Roofing Guys are your local experts in roofing, siding, and gutters and more, providing top quality through every roof, every time. So it's just a small repair, full replacement, or even peace of mind. You need to contact my guys, the Roofing Guys, 614-626-7000, or visit them at theroofingguys.com. That's theroofingguys.com.
Do you suffer from leg pain, leg swelling, varicose veins, or leg ulcers? Dr. Barry Zeta and Dr. Joseph Senta at Ohio Vein and Vascular Polaris are pioneers in the vein and vascular field. Dr. Zeta and Dr. Senta can perform minimally invasive procedures that will get you back on track to a pain-free life. Stop living with leg pain and start the process to healthy living with a free healthy leg screening. Go to loveyourveins.com or call 614-324-VEIN. That's 614-324-VEIN or loveyourveins.com.
Buy now with pre-tariff pricing at Coughlin Chevrolet, Central Ohio's #1 Chevy dealer. Lease a new 25 Chevy Trax, $139 a month, or a new 2025 Silverado, just $288 a month at all 5 Coughlin Chevy locations and CoughlinChevrolet.com. Together, let's drive.
Trax is a 36-month lease with $39.99 due at signing. Silverado is a 24-month lease with $49.99 due. Both plus tax, title, and license. 10,000 miles per year, 25 cents per mile over. See dealer for details. Ends 4/30/25.
After an audit of our programming, the suits here at The Fan decided we needed more baseball. And that common man is stupid. Good news. We fixed one of those problems. Catch the Reds on The Fan all season long. Yay, baseball.
Hi, I'm Josie. My daughter turns 5 today. Blow out the candles. I'm also an Ohio State Highway Patrol trooper. When you move over and slow down, you're not only giving me room to work, you're making sure I can get home to celebrate with my daughter.
Roadside workers have lives and families, but when they're on the job, they put it all on the line to protect and serve us. When you see flashing lights, remember, they're not just roadside workers. Thank you for moving over and slowing down.
Brought to you by ODOT, USDOT, NHTSA, and ODPS.
Help DEA keep our communities safe and healthy by participating in National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day, Saturday, April 26th. Take action right in your own home by cleaning out your medicine cabinet of unneeded medications. Keep them safe, clean them out, take them back. Find a collection site near you at DEATakeback.com. Do your part to lower overdose deaths and prevent prescription drug misuse before it starts. That's DEATakeback.com.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
We're looking at a beautiful day out there today. We'll warm temperatures up out of the 40s and 50s this morning into the 70s, near 80 this afternoon with nothing but sunshine all day long. Tonight down in the mid-50s. Tomorrow in the low 80s, but scattered shower and storm chances return by the afternoon and continue into Friday. That's your latest 10 weather impact forecast. I'm meteorologist Michael Behrens on 97.1 The Fan.
During this 10-second promo, Rothman will lose money gambling on something.
People like you come here and blow the family nest egg that built this town.
Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays from noon to 3.
The Fan. When General Sherman marched through Georgia, he was listening to this show.
Use your skills for good, young warrior.
This is Bishop and Friends.
Indeed it is, and draft week is here. The Fan will have special programming all week long. Where will the former Buckeye players go? Who will the Browns take at number 2? Big one for the Bengals and potentially the Steelers, as they could be thinking quarterback at 21. Here's the best thing for you. Keep it locked right here on The Fan. We'll get you through all of it. Draft week on The Fan is presented by the Crown Automotive Group of Dublin, offering sales and service for Mercedes-Benz, Ineos, and Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram. Lots of rumor here in the lead up to this. Several of the NFL insiders publishing like what I'm hearing a day before. So Peter Schrager did his last mock draft. He only does one. He does it right before the draft, and it's based only on what he's hearing around the league. So we'll get to that in just a second. Diana Rossini, The Athletic, with some interesting stuff as well. Rossini with the following: the Steelers, Browns, and possibly Vikings could be involved in a trade involving Kirk Cousins. Minnesota is looked at as the least likely scenario, giving their preference to favor J.J. McCarthy, and Cousins would need to sign off on any deal he's involved in. Rossini writes, it's believed that Cousins could be against any trade that involves sending him to a situation involving a young quarterback similar to the one he faced in Atlanta this year. I could be way off on this. I see no scenario how it's Cleveland. I don't know why you would acquire Cousins when you already have Flacco and Pickett. I don't know why you would add. They certainly aren't going to give anything up to get him. You've already have kind of that covered with Pickett and Flacco. So I don't sense. To me, the only spot for Cousins is Pittsburgh, and that's if Rodgers says no. Then I think Pittsburgh has to scramble and add him, and I think Pittsburgh then could look quarterback at 21. That would be, to me, the thing that makes the most sense. I don't sense that the Cleveland Browns are going to be in on Cousins, and certainly not on giving up anything to acquire Cousins based on the fact that they already have Pickett and Flacco. I do think the Browns are going to draft a quarterback. I think it could be day 2, could be day 3. We'll see how the board all shorts out. I think the same is true of Pittsburgh. It's just you have to take some swings here at the quarterback position. So those are things to kind of look forward to. I don't necessarily think tomorrow for Cleveland. I'm thinking that will end up being Travis Hunter is the way that one's going to go. But then from that point on, I think you start to look into it depending on how the draft kind of falls. The Dallas – so Jerry Jones can't help himself. So – there's no other situation like this that I can think of in professional sports. There's a lot of situations like this in college sports where we have, like we have with Ryan Day, where Ryan Day is the head coach of Ohio State football. Not only the head coach, he's the CEO, he's the de facto, he's not the general manager because they have Pantoni for that, but he's the guy, he's the owner, I guess. He's the owner, he's the head coach, he's all of it. So you see it in college athletics. You do not see it in professional sports very often, but Jerry Jones is the owner and general manager of the Dallas Cowboys. And we've had some fun with this over the years about how he's the owner and he has post-game press conferences on a Sunday and he goes on local radio in Dallas every Monday or Tuesday, and he does this year-round. So he had his pre-draft presser yesterday, and he told the assembled media that the Cowboys are working on, quote, pretty substantive trades regarding players, although he offered no specifics other than to say they are taking calls with teams. Now, how would you define that? What does that even mean? Pretty substantive trades. Remember, Bruce Drennan doubled down. Now he doubled down on this twice. Former Cleveland radio host, did the All Bets Are Off show for years and does a podcast now, and doubled down on this, that the Browns were going to acquire Dak Prescott. I think it's financially impossible to do it. In every way possible, and I still stand by that. I think it's just absolutely impossible. He's basically untradeable at this point, and they certainly don't have the cap to take on another salary like that without moving. I guess maybe if you moved Watson, you'd have to talk to somebody else about all of that. But when you have a guy like Jones who owns the team saying we're involved in pretty substantive trades, what defines that? What would that be if you're America's team?
So he's in his own reality of this we know. So trades of substance to him would likely be way off from what we would call trades of substance.
Yeah.
Because if he's working on, is that the same as Peter Schrager coming out and says teams like the Browns and the Giants are taking calls? Like, I'm sure he might think working on is the same as we took a call about Micah Parsons. We took a call about Dak Prescott. Well, those would be substantive, and you could say you are working on those, but it doesn't mean anything crosses the finish line on an actual trade for either of those players. So this feels like more of, from Jerry, what we heard yesterday from Schrager. Of course they're talking about all of these things. It's the draft. This is the epitome of throw stuff at the wall to see what sticks.
Yeah.
And Jerry, we know, is like the ultimate showman, promoter, businessman, right? So a substantial trade to him could be trading like a starting linebacker or a starting safety, somebody that is not, we hear blockbuster trade, substantial trade. We're thinking Dak Prescott, we're thinking CeeDee Lamb, we're thinking Micah Parsons. To him, it could just be some random starter on the team.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Not even a starter, like a backup quarterback.
I think you hit it in terms of Jerry's. I stumbled on this about a month ago, and I'm pretty sure we talked about it on the show. It's very possible that everybody keeps saying Jerry needs to win a Super Bowl on his own, that he needs one on his own without Jimmy or without the players Jimmy acquired. Maybe that's not what motivates him at all. Maybe what motivates Jerry Jones is that for the 9th straight year, the Dallas Cowboys are the most valuable sports team in the world, worth an estimated $10 billion. There's nobody within $1.3 billion of them. Nobody. Not Real Madrid, not anybody. They're it. Number one overall. And maybe what matters most to him is that. Maybe that's his Super Bowl. Maybe him buying an NFL team for $150 million and all these years later, it being worth $10 billion is his Super Bowl.
So
because
they
don't spend in free agency, Reese. They don't. It takes they really drag their feet on signing their own players. Sometimes you could say that they are a little too invested in the guys they draft, and they compensate them because Jerry falls in love with them because he drafted them.
Like, I'm imagining his Super Bowl Sunday for the rest of us, or for owners that have teams that are competitive enough, is whenever Forbes is like, hey, we're releasing our valuations tomorrow.
That's what I'm
or like
wondering.
Whenever Sportico is being like, hey, in 24 hours, Jerry Jones is getting the team together, getting the family together with champagne bottles. Like, how much are we going to make today?
Yeah, I don't know. It could be. Maybe it's just different because they've had these windows where they were close. They had, the Romo window. Bob was on those teams, and Witten and all those guys. They had that window, and now they've had this Dak window with CeeDee Lamb, and they've had kind of like two separate windows here where they were on the precipice of being contender, but then they don't act like it. They don't spend like that. So who knows what it means with substantive. Here's what we know. This is the first time in the modern draft era that all 32 teams hold their picks, and there have been no trades. That everyone holds their picks. We're not even, 36 hours out? Will that be true tomorrow when we're doing this show? Will that be true when the draft kicks off tomorrow night? Here's what we do know. Tennessee is staying put at number one. They will pick at number one. Their general manager, Mike Borgonzi, said that in a press conference Tuesday that the organization had gotten offers from teams looking to trade up, considered them, but they're not. They became completely in love with Cam Ward. It happened after the Combine. It probably started to happen at the Combine. They fell in love with him. And then it was something that just was cemented in the process because going into the Combine and during the Combine, they were not taking a quarterback. So Cam Ward won them over. He has not thrown a football. So it's not that. It's the tape's the tape. There is stuff that has happened in those meetings that got Tennessee to go that way, and that's the way they're going to go. I won't pretend to know if any of these guys are sure things. It always tickles me when I hear people say, take the sure thing. There aren't any. I don't know if Travis Hunter is going to be great. How would you know? Who would have the ego to say for sure someone's going to be great? You don't know. You don't know. You just don't. So you have to be honest and trust your boards, and then hopefully that's something that lets you sleep well at night. And I think whether you're Browns fans, Bengals fans, Steelers fans, that's what your hope for is tomorrow. Trust the people who are making the picks, and hopefully they are honest with the work that they have done in leading up to the draft. And they stay true to those boards and are not influenced by everything else that can lead up to it, because that's when I think you end up in a mess. But it should be a fun night. Could be really interesting next 24 hours in the lead up to the NFL draft. Ryan Day. Dom caught up with him yesterday. We will get his thoughts on the Buckeyes who will be drafted, some NFL teams that would be good fits, and who would be a good fit for Will Howard in the NFL. That's in 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
SoFi Personal Loan is here to help you achieve something once thought impossible, overcoming high-interest credit card debt. Walk the tightrope of your finances with one low, fixed-rate monthly payment, no fees required, and as soon as the same-day funding. That's right, pull off your own debt-defying stunt with a SoFi personal loan. Visit SoFi.com/trick to learn more. Loans originated by SoFi Bank, N.A., member FDIC. Terms and conditions apply, NMLS 696891.
Every great team has its core players, but when the season gets tough, adding the right free agent can make all the difference. The same goes for business. At Robert Half, we found that 67% of companies surveyed plan to increase their use of contract talent to handle workload peaks and backlogged projects. With Robert Half's specialized recruiters' experience, combined with our award-winning AI, you can quickly find the skilled candidates you want. At Robert Half, we know talent. Discover how we can help at roberthalf.com/talent.
Military veterans and active duty service members, you could become a certified cyber warrior with just 12 weeks of training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, and IT pros with these skills often enjoy abundant opportunity and a great lifestyle. Protect our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. SkillBridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP.
Best are us.
when dreams don't get in. That's RS. Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel, plus low to no monthly payments. Call 380-225-BATH to schedule your free estimate or go to bathsrus.com. 380-225-BATH. That's RS. When dreams don't get in, that's RS. Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
What's up?
What's up, man? What's up with you?
Sponsored by High Bank Distillery, home of the best blended whiskey in America. Grab a bottle or dine in at their 3 restaurant locations, Grandview, Gahanna, and now in Westerville. Drink local. Drink High Bank.
All right, here's what's up on a First Friday edition of the program. NFL draft set for tomorrow. Some of the most recent drafts have as many as 3 Buckeyes. I saw Peter Schrager's, who released today. He only does 1. It's based on what he's hearing around the league, and there was Emeka Egbuka going in the first round. There was Donovan Jackson in the first round, and there was Justin Simmons in the first round, or Josh Simmons in the first round. So you're talking about 3 first-rounders from the Buckeyes side now, and there was talk at one point there'd be 1, but hearing as many as 3, and Emeka's rise appears to be very, very real. Our good friend Dom Tiberi at Channel 10 caught up with Ryan Day, and obviously for Day, when you recruit these guys, you develop these guys, you win a national championship with these guys, the next thing is this, which is, I assume, a little bit like sending your child off to marriage. Like, you've got them through high school, middle school, high school, they've gone to college, they've got the degree, they've got the good job, and then now you send them off down on the wedding day. My hunch is that's kind of the parallel for it. Here is Ryan with Dom on how excited he is for the Buckeyes in this draft.
A big part of what they wanted to accomplish by coming to Ohio State was an opportunity to get to the NFL. That's going to happen for these guys this weekend, and I'm excited to see where they all go. It's all about the opportunity. Some have worked really, really hard to find themselves, where they are in terms of these mock drafts and how some of these organizations have rated them in terms of value. I've just got so much feedback from our guys and also just from the personnel in the NFL, just what Buckeye Nation already knows. These guys they're pros already. And so fired up to see, how the next chapter of their life begins. They just finished one and now they're about to start another. So, excited for them and looking forward to see where they all end up.
Ryan Day also had a message to Dom about NFL teams and what you're getting if you draft a Buckeye.
If you want to have culture, if you want to have guys who are going to make your locker room better, all of those things, then you have to draft those type of players. And I think the one thing that I shared with, all the 160 some odd people that were here the day of the pro day was these guys are already pros. Ohio State's fan base is just under 12 million. The Dallas Cowboys is 8.5. So these guys know what it's like to play on a big stage. They know what it means to play at a place where, you have to perform and what comes with it. And how do they handle themselves like pros off the field? And there's a lot of great players out there across the country, but these guys, the risk of drafting a Buckeye is very minimal, in terms of, to the organization. Now, where they value them, that's their decision, but there's going to be a lot of our guys that got drafted in this year's draft class that are going to play football for a long time in the NFL.
Upwards of 15 Buckeyes could get drafted. It's one thing that they've done really since Urban got here. Tress did it, quite honestly. Coop, you want to be fair, Coop probably started it in terms of an ability to cast a wide net and recruit the entire country and develop pros. I mean, the guys who came through here in the 90s, there was a track record of you draft a Buckeye, you're getting a dude. And there's countless of them in the 90s that did it. So it probably starts there. Tress certainly continued that, and then it went to an entirely different level with Urban, and it's continued with Ryan and Pantoni and all of it, and that goes back to that NFLU thing that we talk about all the time. There is their setup of identifying young talent, getting it on campus, developing that talent, winning a lot of games, and then putting you to the NFL as prepared as you can be is second to none. There's no other program that does it at this level. One of the criticisms of Alabama and recently of even to a certain extent Georgia players is that they get worn out playing in those two places. That's not the case here. Buckeye guys, for the most part, by the time they get to the league, they're ready to go. And as Ryan said in that previous bite with Dom, they are pros here. And that is something that I think Ohio State uses as an incredible selling point in recruiting, and rightfully so. I think they do it in the portal. Ohio State has become NFLU, and it's something Ryan talked to Dom about in terms of how proud they are for how Ohio State develops players for the league.
That's a big part of our recruiting conversations is the development part. What's cool about this draft is every position is going to get represented other than, the specialists. You think about, quarterback, you got Will, you have the 2 running backs, you have G. Scott, you have the linemen, linebackers, safeties, corners. You just, every position is being represented. So we talk to our recruits, we talk about coming here to Ohio State, which isn't for everybody, thinking big. And that if you come in with that type of mindset that you want to be developed at a high level and you have an elite mindset, you're going to be in a locker room of a bunch of guys that have the same mindset. So that's what it comes down to. And to see these guys, come back for their senior year, put in another year, just going to make them better pros. And I use the example all the time of Devon Hamilton or Terry McLaurin, who did come back for 5th years. And you can argue, all right, how much did they move up in the draft? But that wasn't really the important thing. The important thing was that when they got to the NFL, they were ready. And now you're seeing 2 guys make their second contract and really make a big score.
Yeah, you really do. I mentioned Schrager's draft a few times. It's the one where he writes what he's hearing. It has Emeka Egbuka going number 20 to Denver. Schrager writes, bar none, Egbuka is the most universally well-liked prospect in this draft. He is smart, reliable, and sure-handed. He could be a 10-year captain somewhere, as most often compared to fellow Buckeye legend Terry McLaurin. Coach Sean Payton and general manager George Payton hit a home run with Bo Nix a year ago. This could be another no-brainer. I've loved that fit for Emeka in Denver. I think that's a great fit for him in that offense with Nix and Peyton. I think they put him in a great spot. Other Buckeyes mocked in the first round, Donovan Jackson, number 25 to Houston. Bake, you maybe end up right about this with the versatility of Jackson. The Texans could look to their offensive line and a guard who's has a potential to kick outside to tackle. They're rebuilding their protection in front of C.J. Stroud. This isn't an attention-grabbing pick, but it's a sensible one in this draft. So that's one of the first ones I've seen with Jackson ahead of Simmons. Simmons goes 27 to the Ravens. Simmons could slip because of an injury, but B sustained a torn patella tendon in October. He might be the best of the bunch in this offensive line class. The Ravens could add another potential star, and watch, he'll be a difference maker in no time. Of course, it's the Ravens, so he will be.
I would be shocked if that happened, where Donovan Jackson is drafted ahead of Josh Simmons, but there was no Buckeye that improved their draft stock more than Donovan Jackson did, and it all happened when he kicked outside to tackle, and they're like, wait a second, he can hold his own out here, and he's got a lot of measurables that he could do this in a pinch. And, I mean, Donovan Jackson was probably a mid-round pick, and then he moved to tackle, and now he's, at worst, a middle-of-the-second-round pick.
You know what you just said there is something that it's a good lesson for kids, not just college athletes, but youth kids, whoever's out there, you're a parent. Donovan Jackson could have said, nah, I'm good. I'm a guard. I'm not going out there and going to be exposed. He could have done that.
Had a lot to lose.
Hell yes, he had a lot to lose. A lot. But instead, he took the opportunity, and you're exactly right, Bake. He went from being a mid-round pick to maybe a first or at the worst a second, in large part because of that ability. I mean, I'm not suggesting that he's going to have Joel Bitonio's career as a borderline Hall of Famer and all-pro and all of that stuff. But you think about what the Browns have had to use Bitonio to do in a pinch, bump out to tackle. That versatility has value, and Donovan was willing to show it. And I think it's a good point out of you. And it's a good lesson for kids out there. Sometimes just be available and be willing to do things.
And we've seen that a lot with the Browns too, where then we saw it with Ohio State this past year. Hey, let's have our best 6 or 7. And let's have a couple of these guys be versatile, where if one guy goes down, we can plug and play with different guys or move multiple people where we need to. I think that versatility on the offensive line is something that we haven't seen really before in football until the past couple of years.
Whenever I'm thinking about an NFL prospect out of college, I go, how were they against NFL comparable defenses? And I'm just going to use Donovan Jackson's four-game series in the college football playoff, where you had Tennessee, Oregon, Texas, and Notre Dame. The NFL liked Notre Dame's defense so much, they took the guy who led it as his coordinator. And you're going to hear a lot of the guys from a lot of those teams that I just mentioned, their names are going to be read a lot this weekend and a lot in the years to come. And so for that right there, I see a decade career for Donovan Jackson of just being at a Pro Bowl level at whichever position they want him to play. That
the versatility
he's okay with.
Yeah, versatility is going to be incredible. One more real quick from Ryan. This is with Dom on Will Howard, who we think could he be a second round? Will he be a third round? Could he slip to the fourth? It'll really be about fit more than anything else. Here's Ryan on Will.
He's got a great football IQ. He's got great positivity. He's a mature man who is going to walk into an organization and just be a pro day one. And the ball, really has been coming out of his hands better and better. And you can see it by the way he played and his accuracy and efficiency in the playoffs. I think the best thing that, ever happened to Ohio State was Will Howard. I think the best thing that ever happened to Will Howard was Ohio State. I think it worked hand in hand. And I think now he's ready to go jump into an organization and take it and run because he's going to learn fast and the guys are going to really gravitate to him.
Of all of the guys, remember at the start of the show, I did that thing with, and we're familiar obviously with Quinn and Kyle and Will the most because they were here. Will's leadership is just infectious. And but I think with all these guys, it's going to be the right circumstances. That thing that you laid out with whether it's the Raiders or the Rams, wherever it is, the fit will be critical. And I think that the one thing with Will is he went to quarterback finishing school here, but he's still in the middle of it. There's still a lot of development that can happen with him. And I think the spot will be critical. It's going to be fun over the next few days to see how this all shakes out. Urban Meyer weighed in on the Buckeyes' current quarterback situation. We'll have that for you coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
The only workplace in America to participate in the Doorknob Fart Game. And we also play office basketball and sometimes do radio. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Montana, Bettis, Horning, and Brown, some of the greatest of all time, kicked off their careers in South Bend. You can celebrate Notre Dame football's impact on the professional game by visiting the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton to experience gold helmet to gold jacket now through April 27th. And register to win our grand prize at 971thefan.com/gold jacket. One winner will receive 2 tickets to the Hall of Fame game enshrinement ceremony presented by Novartis and the Hall of Fame Museum. That's 971thefan.com/gold jacket.
Okay, so I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Wendy's has this new Cajun Crunch chicken sandwich. And to be honest, I'm kind of crushing hard on this Sammy. It's packed with bold Cajun flavors and topped with crispy onions for a satisfying crunch. All on Wendy's iconic spicy chicken sandwich. It's honestly kind of my dream sandwich. I hope it likes me back. For a sandwich you'll love, gotta be Wendy's. Open till midnight or later.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's. Hours may vary by location.
Spring is here and it's time for a fresh start, starting with your ride. At Germain Toyota, we've got an offer that'll drive you into the season in style. Get behind the wheel of a 2025 Toyota Tundra SR5 today for just $499 a month. That's right, a powerful, rugged Tundra, just like the one I'm driving, for $449 a month for 36 months. Germain Toyota on the corner of I-70 and Bryce Road, or online at germaintoyota.net. $39.99 down, 36-month lease, plus tax, title, and fees. No security deposit required with approved credit. Offer ends soon. See dealer for details.
I can't wait to meet her. Oh my gosh.
Put your hands together for new Dr. Pepper Blackberry and Dr. Pepper Blackberry Zero Sugar.
There she is! Woohoo! Yeah! It's full Dr. Pepper!
With sweet blackberry flavor!
Dr. Pepper Blackberry, I'm obsessed with your succulent taste. Please marry me!
No! Marry me! Marry me, or I'm gonna freak out!
Try new Dr. Pepper Blackberry.
It's a pepper thing!
Everybody poops, everybody pees. Mommy, will you call Mr. Rooter, please? 'Cause I gotta poop and I gotta pee. Only Mr. Rooter can clear the drain for me. Thank you, Mr. Rooter.
Hi, everybody. We call it what it is at Mr. Rooter. When you have a plumbing or drain problem, the team at Mr. Rooter is ready 7 days a week. Call us today and take advantage of our $95 drain cleaning special. Visit us at MrRooter.com. We'll be there quick.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. Spring is here and it's time to refresh your yard with Ohio Mulch. With 15 convenient locations in Central Ohio, it's easier than ever to get your mulch ready for the season. Need it delivered? No problem. Save $50 on home delivery when you order online. Whether it's mulch, soil, or even stone, we've got your yard covered. Visit OhioMulch.com today and spruce up your garden with the best.
Ohio Mulch, landscape supply, cleaner, greener, better.
It's one of the best weeks of the year. Draft Week. Draft Week. Draft Week on The Fan is
presented by the Crown Automotive Group in Dublin.
The Fan. Ohio sports destination.
A Progressive Home and Auto Bundle can protect you round the clock, but we can't protect you from those painful moments in sports.
I can't believe they're moving the team to another city.
True, but you'll never forget all the joy they brought into your life.
Joy? They made the playoffs twice in 50 years.
Gosh, those 2 times were pretty great, weren't they?
How would I know? I wasn't even born yet.
Just think of all the free time you'll have on game days.
Those games were the highlight of my week.
Well, at least your home and auto are protected with a bundle from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Tuning into your favorite team's game or actually going to the stadium is better when you feel at your best. If something's not quite right, reduce tension and pain and increase flexibility with expert-assisted stretching at Stretch Lab. Each session is customized to your body's needs with your unique goals in mind. Visit your local Stretch Lab today or go to stretchlab.com to get up to 50% off your first 50-minute stretch. Plus, get an additional $10 off with code FAN10. That's code FAN10 at stretchlab.com.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Producers, co-hosts, friends, some of those things are true. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
The next couple of segments we're going to do, there's quite a bit of college football stuff happening. The college football calendar, some comments from, I think we're getting to this too at 10:20, some comments from Matt Rule on what you should do and ought to do from a scheduling standpoint and what you want as fans. What do you expect out of your college football team every single fall in terms of providing you the entertainment, not just in wins and losses, but in terms of like see and be seen, things that you want to attend. Urban Meyer on his Triple Option podcast, which is pretty good and quite candid because Herb doesn't know any other way, weighed in on what Ohio State will do in 2025 next season. Here are Urban's expectations and why.
It does. And again, Vegas is right on the mark here. I mean, that's 10.5. And I think they'll win 10 games. And remember, the standard's been set by the Wolverines leadership, an old team, a team full of seniors. Penn State's trying to do that this year with the back, tailbacks coming back and Aller coming back. So I got them at 10 wins. I think they're, they've recruited at a whole different level than anyone else in college football, I think, in the last 15, 20 years. Well, I thought we always recruited good. Man, I see these rosters, my gosh, and what they've done. And they had a good spring game. They love the quarterback saying that the Alabama transfer. You have 2 new coordinators. Matt Patricia, that's going to be the biggest change because I think Brian Hartline is just going to keep going along with the Chip Kelly, Ohio State, Ryan Day offense. So I got him at 10. I look at their schedule, and I'm going to hand it off to Mark here in a second, but at Wolverines, at Wisconsin, I don't think those are top 10 teams this year. I don't know if the Wolverines will be a top 10 team. They still got some rebuilding to do. Wisconsin, we saw them up close and personal. That was a top 5, top 10 team at one point. I think they're going to get back at that point with Coach Fickell. But the Wisconsin team we saw last year, that's not that awful trip that it used to be to go to Madison.
Would you sign up for 10-2 right now?
No. I think they can do better.
I think off of the high of the national championship, if you hear 10-2, you're a little disappointed. To me,
I don't want that. Like, who are they losing to? Penn State and Texas?
Just won a national title like 10-2. Come on, be better. Be better.
And I think we forget that this team was 11-2 in the regular season last year, right? Because we came off of the high of that 4-game run in the playoff. But to me, losing 8 guys on defense, a brand new starting quarterback, 2 brand new coordinators at your school, I think if you told me 10-2 right now, I would sign up for that because you're getting into the college football playoff and you get another crack.
Listen, I know Buckeye fan pretty well. I think it depends on the 2. I think it depends on the 2. Like if Herb's saying 10-2, to me it's figuring they're going to lose to Texas at home. That he thinks that's one of the losses is Texas at home. He just said he didn't think it would be Wisconsin or Michigan. Those are both ats because he didn't think either one of those teams would be ready. Although I thought Fick would maybe be a little better. That could also be just loyalty to Fick. So where's the second loss coming, I think is the key thing. Is Ohio State really going to lose both marquee home games to Texas and Penn State? I mean, I'll believe that when I see it. I don't. I just don't think James Franklin's coming in here. So basically what you're saying is they're going to get upset somewhere that we don't think. So is that at Washington at the end of September? I mean, can you imagine if they lose, if they're 2-2 coming out of September with losses at home against Texas and at Washington?
Boy.
Good grief.
Bo, the game that
it's
scares
hard to get to 2 losses. I don't know where, unless you're going to say Penn State here.
The game that scares me on this schedule a lot is at Illinois. And I know most people are going to be like, yeah, whatever, I don't know. But Burt Bielema, he knows how to coach in this Big Ten, and he had Illinois better last year. I haven't looked into everything that they've got coming back, what they got in the transfer portal and all of that. That game scares me a lot.
I think anytime you play for the Illabuck, though, you have our attention. You're playing for a wooden turtle, baby.
Well, a top-ranked Ohio State team going to Champaign. When has that ever gone wrong? They have Luke Altmaier coming back. So they have a known at quarterback, one of very few knowns in the Big Ten at the quarterback position. But
they'd have to do something that Ryan Day almost never does, which is lose to teams that aren't Michigan in the league. Like, where he never loses. They don't have, Urban had those losses. He had those losses at Iowa and Purdue. I mean, there were the scare at Maryland. Like, he had some of those. Ryan doesn't have those losses. They don't lose to those type of teams. So it would take that, in order to get to 10-2. And that's, of course, acknowledging that you think you're going to lose the opener to Texas, which who knows how that one will all shake out. Urban did say something else in there that I picked up on, which is his comment about Julian Sayin. They pressed him about Julian Sayin on the podcast, the Triple Option podcast. Let's have a listen to what Urban had to say about Julian.
Yeah, they say his anticipation, his very live arm from different arm slots, where he gets the ball out. He's real dynamic and adaptable at that position. And I've been hearing about him. I actually stood next to him, and he's not only 6 foot, but he's a little slight.
Yeah,
but I'm sure, another year in the weight program and getting bigger, and because, you're going to get hit. But the ball comes out of his hands real nice, and they think very high level. And you know what they're doing. They're going to keep the other guys around. But everything I'm hearing, it's saying is a quarterback.
You think Ryan wants that out?
No.
Like that true serum from Urban? Urban can't help himself, though. You ask Urban a direct question, you're going to get a direct answer.
Ryan's probably sending him a text like, thanks, Coach.
Because next time Ryan takes the podium, guess what they're asking? Like, hey,
Urban
said this. That's what he was hearing. Have you talked to Urban lately?
Who would he be hearing that from, Ryan?
That's strange. Like he has any connections in that building.
Corey Dennis isn't here anymore, so he doesn't talk to anybody on the staff. He's just hearing it. That's the way it goes. Look, it is kind of what this isn't reinventing the wheel for anybody. That everybody we've been hearing about Sayin for a long time, and so Urban saying that is part of it. He did mention a couple of things that I think are concerning. If there are concerns about Sayin, and I think that there is some legitimacy to this, he is slight of size in comparison to Lincoln. He is. How is he going to take the punishment of playing the position? How smartly can he play it? The guy he reminds me of is Bryce Young. Watching him play in the spring game, and that's high praise, right? I mean, that's #1 overall pick in the draft. That's Heisman Trophy winner. That's a guy who was a master class at playing quarterback at the college level and turned that into being the #1 pick in the draft, and Carolina going to get him, and it looks like he found himself in the NFL. But to do that, and you have to remember about this with Bryce Young when he was at Alabama, and I'm guessing that's part of what convinced Julian to go to Alabama initially, too, is they probably saw a lot of those similarities. He is going to have to be smart in not taking hits. And that's something that Bryce Young didn't do a whole lot at Alabama. The ball was out. It was out on time. And if he did scramble or he did buy time, he got down. You go think back to, you watch a lot of Bryce Young games when he was at Alabama. How many times you see him get bombed? Didn't happen much. So that's something that Julian's, and I'm sure that's a point of concern for them, because physically he is not the statuesque picture that Lincoln Kienholz is in terms of just the physical size of him. So he's going to have to be a smart player. The 10 wins is going to be a fascinating thing. And I do think something we're going to play a little bit later is some comments from the Triple Option podcast with Urban, where Matt Rule had some comments about scheduling. And this is more of a question. I think he's very bold in what he has to say, but I'm curious how it would land with you in a Buckeye Nation. We'll get to that coming up at 10:20. Speaking of the college football calendar, we know where the 2026 college football playoff games will be played and when they will be played. There's a major change historically from what we've seen in the past. Ross Bjork also weighed in on what needs to happen from a calendar standpoint. We will get to all of that coming up next. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
If the sound of another man slammed against plexiglass turns you on, you've come to the right place. Proud to be your home for Jackets hockey. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is, if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
Get Eco.
ECO. Hey, Aaron. Hey, Jerry. You know how annoyed people get when they worry about their sump pump?
Ah, the sump pump grump.
Get Eco.
ECO. They try whacking it to see if it'll start.
A technique known as the sump pump thump, I believe.
Or they feel around to see if something inside is clogged.
That would be a sump pump clump.
Get Eco.
ECO. But the last thing they want is to be caught in a rainstorm or a snowmelt with a flooded basement because the stupid thing didn't work.
No one wants to be a sump pump chump, Aaron.
That's why we have the $89 sump pump inspection. We check your pump, your battery backup, and all the downspouts and drains along the way to make sure everything is running clear.
All that for just one small sump pump lump sum.
Absolutely. Shouldn't you be out inventing things?
I'm in a bit of a slump.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Eco plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians.
GetEco.com.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Guys, listen up. How many of you out there have been diagnosed with sleep apnea? Maybe your partner can't tolerate your snoring every night. You can't stand your CPAP machine. I totally get it. But the good news is there are alternatives to the CPAP machine. And Dr. Mark Levy is here to change your sleep and your life. Trust me, your spouse will thank you later. Dr. Mark Levy can customize an oral appliance that opens your airways, helps you breathe better, and, of course, stops your snoring. That's the main point. It's quick and comfortable and an alternative to those bulky, loud CPAP machines you always hear about. For over 15 years, Dr. Mark Levy has led the way when it comes to treating snoring and sleep apnea, and now he's expanding his practice to better serve his patients with a brand new location in Marysville. I love Marysville. If you're snoring and not sleeping, you need to call Dr. Mark Levy's office today. Do not delay. Schedule your appointment today with Dr. Mark Levy at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. That's 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. You can also visit him online at sleepbettercolumbus.com. And now, sleepbettermarysville.com too.
Breaking news, and this one is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365 because they get $150 in bonus bets when they bet $5, win or lose. And even better, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, and player props.
There you have it. Bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. And see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. T&Cs apply.
Montana, Bettis, Horning, and Brown, some of the greatest of all time, kicked off their careers in South Bend. You can celebrate Notre Dame football's impact on the professional game by visiting the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton to experience gold helmet to gold jacket now through April 27th. And register to win our grand prize at 971thefan.com/gold jacket. One winner will receive 2 tickets to the Hall of Fame game enshrinement ceremony presented by Novartis and the Hall of Fame Museum. That's 971thefan.com/gold jacket.
Master Grillers Unite. The grilling season never ends at Billiards Plus. Come see their best-in-class grills for yourself and check out Central Ohio's largest selection of pool tables, game furniture, and shuffleboard. Family-owned and operated. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
Bobby Carpenter here for Germain Toyota. Swing by Germain Toyota and ask for Marcello and discover unbeatable deals and a wide selection of new and certified pre-owned Toyota vehicles. Visit them at germaintoyota.net. Germain Toyota on the corner of I-70 and Bryce Road.
Vivid Seats is your ultimate destination for basketball and hockey this season. With a game-changing rewards program and an unbeatable selection of tickets, they make it easy for every fan to watch their favorite teams and players in action. Catch every one-timer and buzzer-beating 3 live and in person from your favorite seat. Plus, every ticket is backed by a 100% buyer guarantee, giving you peace of mind with every purchase. Don't miss out. Visit VividSeats.com or download the app today. Vivid Seats, the official ticketing partner of ESPN.
The sports calendar is heating up, and with ESPN Bet Sportsbook, you can go from checking news to stats to placing bets in a couple of taps. Stream games, bet live, and get exclusive offers when you link your ESPN account. Right now, you can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet app and sign up with promo code USL to get started today. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. About 1,100 D1 men's college basketball players have entered the transfer portal over the last month. Less than 450 of them have found new homes. The window closes tonight at midnight. Ohio State center Sean Stewart put his name into the portal on Tuesday. He's the 5th Buckeye to do so. Stewart started 30 games for Ohio State this season after transferring from Duke. The NFL draft starts tomorrow in Green Bay. The Titans have the first overall pick. The Browns select at 2, while the Bengals have pick number 17. We'll have a live draft show from Hollywood Casino Thursday night at 7. In baseball today, the Guardians can break out the brooms on the Yankees. Cleveland hosts New York at 1:10. Guards have won 5 straight. 1:10 in Miami. The Reds and Marlins go in their series rubber match. And in the NBA tonight, the Cavs host the Heat in Game 2 of their first-round playoff series. Tip-off there 7:30. Cleveland leads 1-0. Breaking sports news when it happens on The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
The uncle you never knew you had. The friends you kind of wish you didn't. This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, second hour here on a First Friday. Boy, you have, you talk about that basketball portal. So you had Stewart, Bradshaw, and Michi all come in the portal on the basketball side of things, all left and all gone. Portal's a tricky world, man. And you saw this with the Madden Imalieva kid who yesterday was, he had initially committed to UCLA, then he went and enrolled at Arkansas, and then went back to UCLA yesterday. And then Arkansas said, actually, we're going to need some money back on that side of things. So this is where we're heading with all of this is you're in charge of a basketball program, a football program, and you go to donors and you say, I need this money to get this guy. The ROI on that guy better be good. Otherwise, you have those same backers saying, wait a second, what did we do here? What did we get for our $4 million or wherever it may be with those guys? So that's the thing that's really tricky is you go into that portal, you best not miss.
Yeah, and it was not a good first portaling for Jake Diebler with obviously the 3 guys you mentioned. Micah Parrish had a pretty good year for Ohio State, and he's obviously out of eligibility now. Quez Glover as well. But yeah, hopefully this next set with Christoph Tilley and Brandon Knoll, hopefully it hits a little better than that first class for Jake Diebler did.
And Stewart putting his name into the portal doesn't necessarily mean he can't come out of the transfer portal. So there's still a chance that he could return to Ohio State. And I feel like, as was mentioned, about 1,100 players went into the transfer portal. Only 441 have found themselves new homes. There's about 6 of them, I think, according to On3, that are out of the portal back to the place that they had played last year, which is like 0.5% or something like that. But there's still a possibility, like if Stewart goes out, because Ohio State has now need at that position, because that was 30 games for Sean Stewart starting at center because of Bradshaw. My assumption would be, because this seems really late to do the portaling, it's closed at midnight.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a decent chance that Stewart comes back after not finding a greener pasture. And Ohio State would be foolish not to take him.
I think the read on it's similar to the Nico Amalieva read, right? Like, I need a little bit more. We don't have it. Okay, I'll go in the portal. Do you have it now? My hunch would be that's it. I think that's what I think that these guys are weaponizing the portal a little bit.
If he does leave, I think that's a bummer for Ohio State.
Yeah.
Not that they wouldn't be able to replace what he brought to the team because he averaged almost 6 points and almost 6 rebounds a game. But there were signs of life with him at the end, right? Especially on the defensive end and the rebounding side of things. If you could just get him to play a little more under control and watch the fouls and the foul trouble some, you might have had something with him because his numbers over 40 were a lot better. I think he only averaged like 18 minutes a night because he was in foul trouble all the time. But there were signs from him where there was some improvement down the stretch.
Yeah, at the very least, though, there's so many things going on here in terms of the portal and then when it happens, and it just goes to just no thought was put to the scheduling of any of this by the adults in the room. And this is something Ross Bjork weighed in on the football side of things. The College Football Playoff Committee has met in the last couple of days. They've done so down in Dallas, and Ross Bjork was there and had some comments. But before we get to those comments, this is next year's college football playoff schedule. So remember, we played December 20th, 21st this year against Tennessee. So, they're not doing that. They're doing the opposite. They're pushing it all the way back. So this year, instead of the quarterfinals being played on, do I have this right? Quarterfinals are not going to be played on home sites this year?
I think that's still being worked on.
I mean, how do we not know? You're going to play this in 6 months.
No, the quarterfinals. So this is the final 8 here that we're looking at.
Oh, my God, that's right. That's right. We have the preliminary
yes.
stuff. So, okay, that's right.
The quarterfinals were at the bowl games. It was the round of 16 that was at home sites.
The quarterfinal game was the Rose Bowl. For us.
Correct.
God, you go cross-eyed. It's so much Pepe Sylvia moments with all of this. So you'll still have the home sites for the first 4 games, and then that will feed into the quarterfinals. So the quarterfinal, again, will be December 31st and 1st. The Cotton Bowl gets, I think, a big win. So they're going to be New Year's Eve at 7:30 will be the Cotton Bowl game. Then the Thursday, January 1st, noon Eastern, Capital One Orange Bowl. I'm going to tell you right now, they better get some marquee teams playing in that sucker, or else that's going to be about 38,000 people in attendance for that. Noon, Miami. The Orange Bowl is a primetime game. Noon is a total miss for them. Go ahead, Ben.
And that was our Penn State SMU matchup last year, correct? That noon game?
No, that was in Penn State. It was
as a first rounder.
Okay.
That had to be Penn State, Boise State, but that was in the desert, wasn't it? I think that game was in the desert. I thought Georgia played. I mean, the bowls don't even matter anymore. The idea that they're still tied to them is crazy. So either way, that's noon. This is the big change. 4 o'clock, the Rose Bowl game will be played New Year's Day at 4 o'clock Eastern. Now, that's critical because the Rose Bowl has always started at 5 o'clock, which allowed for the sunset to happen in the fourth quarter of the game. Last year, the sunset, I thought I read, happened around, it was around 5:30 local. The game ended around 5:30 local. The sunset is around 5 o'clock local. So this would make it very likely that the actual sunset in the Rose Bowl is, if it's seen, it'll be seen only minimally in this game, which is something they've never done. They've always protected the Rose Bowl sunset, and so now they're saying, well, we can't. So they're going to play that game at 4, and then at 8 o'clock will be the Sugar Bowl game down in New Orleans on New Year's Day. The college football semifinals will be the Fiesta Bowl on Thursday, January 8th, so that keeps them out of the NFL's way, and Friday, January 9th. Both of those will be at 7 o'clock. One will be in Atlanta. One will be out in Glendale in Arizona, the Fiesta Bowl. And the national championship game will be on Monday, January 19th. So that is late into it. That is head-to-head with NFL playoff talk throughout. I think it's a huge mistake to do so. Rich Clark's the executive director of the CFP. He said, quote, "This year's New Year's Day schedule adjustment is the result of thoughtful collaboration between the CFP, ESPN, Orange Bowl, Rose Bowl, Sugar Bowl. All 3 bowls have been shifting their start times, allows us to place each game in an ideal window on New Year's Day and provide the optimal viewing experience. New Year's Day and college football are synonymous with each other, and these changes only strengthen that relationship." That's a bunch of nonsense. If you just do the semifinals, you'd accomplish the same thing, by the way, at that time. Ross Bjork, our guy, here he is. Quoted, "We've had so many distractions over the last 5+ years that I think the time is now to not be reactive but be proactive. When we had this settling here with the commissioners, our job was to provide feedback on what it was like to go through the 12-team playoff. But it all gets impacted by the calendar. I felt it was important to lay out that everyone in the room to say, separate from the CFP process, if we don't fix our calendar as an industry, then we're going to continue to have unintended consequences. When you don't have class, there is no limit to CARA hours. I'm not sure what CARA is. Do you guys know what that is?
So I actually have that pulled up because I did not know either. It's countable athletically related activities. Okay. So there are like limitations during the playing season and the off season.
But if they don't have classes, there aren't. That's his argument. So he's saying it created some disadvantages. It goes all the way back to what's countable CARA hours, NCAA structure. The portal is the next big conversation after the House case. And truly, what kind of rules can we all set? We'll have the authority around transfer rules to set some parameters. So he's banking on that in a very, very big way, that House case is going to allow for them to have some rules in the portal that previously don't exist and some rules with NIL that previously don't exist. How long have we been talking about the calendar on this show? From Jump Street. And it does have to get fixed. And you don't have to just look at ratings that were pretty good, but probably not everything that you wanted them to be. You also have to look at the attendance. And you have to look at some of the empty seats that were available at a lot of these sites. No, the Rose Bowl didn't have any. But if you watch those college football playoff games, there were a lot of those that weren't on campus, and even some of them that were, where you could get in for next to nothing. The Texas-Arizona State game, which I think was played in Atlanta, you could have walked in for 6 cents, if I remember correctly, and I believe that we do. And I think the same is true of Penn State and Boise State, that there's some of that out there too. The idea that you're going to go head-to-head in the sports attention sphere with the NFL in January and to continue to do it is just absolute financial suicide for the college football playoff. Can't do it. You got to get away from it. And you have the whole month of December to work with.
It also feels a little disingenuous to me where you talk about classes and CARA hours, and in another breath, you're going to be talking about playoff expansion or play-in games or shifting the calendar, that goes further back into August or further forward into January and, God forbid, February. Like, how you cannot have all of it. So at some point, and I understand that, but haven't we been trying to do this for 10 years and it's just not working?
Yeah, I think you're right. They do want all of it. They want the appearance of academia, and they want all of the money of professional sports. You can't have both anymore. It's time to choose how you want this to look. And you talk to coaches, and it's that calendar's got to get fixed. That's the idea, that there is a signing day, that the first signing day in football happens around the same time as you're preparing for a playoff game, around the same time as a portal is opened. We saw this now with Nico, where they went to Tennessee and say, I need money to play this game. I signed up for 12 games. Now I'm playing a 13th. We saw this with the backup quarterback, Prabula, at Penn State, how it affected them. They can get this fixed. They need people like Bjork in the room to get it done, but they can get it fixed. There's another thing philosophically that could be happening in the sport, and Matt Rule just said the quiet part out loud. It's going to sound a lot like what I think James Franklin's inner monologue is, but it's Matt Rule saying it. You're going to hear it coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We know everything about you. We know you love the Buckeyes. We know you love the Jackets. We know you're wearing a red shirt. Just freak the hell out of someone. The Fan.
Care Heating and Cooling. When you need a company you can trust, call 1-800-COOLING.
Okay, so I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Wendy's has this new Cajun Crunch chicken sandwich. And to be honest, I'm kind of crushing hard on this Sammy. It's packed with bold Cajun flavors and topped with crispy onions for a satisfying crunch. All on Wendy's iconic spicy chicken sandwich. It's honestly kind of my dream sandwich. I hope it likes me back. For a sandwich you'll love, gotta be Wendy's. Open till midnight or later.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's. Hours may vary by location.
Common Man here for Jermaine Lexus of Dublin and Easton. Guess what? It's driving season, friends, and my friends at Jermaine Lexus are ready for you with their most popular models on the lot and ready to go with special APRs as low as 3.99%, up to 48 months, or 4.49%, up to 60 months with low lease payments starting at $389 per month on the 2025 NX. And if you're looking for a TX, they're finally available for immediate delivery. Jermaine Lexus, 2 locations to serve you, Dublin and Easton, JermaineLexus.com.
I can't
wait to meet her. Oh my gosh.
Put your hands together for new Dr. Pepper Blackberry and Dr. Pepper Blackberry Zero Sugar.
There she is! Woohoo! Yeah! It's full Dr. Pepper!
With sweet blackberry flavor.
Dr. Pepper Blackberry, I'm obsessed with your succulent taste. Please marry me!
No! Marry me, or I'm gonna freak out!
Try new Dr. Pepper Blackberry.
It's a pepper thing!
1-800-GOT-JUNK makes space for possibilities.
When our clean, shiny truck arrives, it's the sign of a new beginning, a clean start, a breath of fresh air.
All the animals start giggling, a rainbow appears, and music fills the air.
Your best friend calls with happy news. Every table has fresh flowers on it, and your nights are full of candlelight.
We bring the springtime.
All you have to do is point.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK
or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for mouth-watering meals and appetizing ingredients. Our low prices add up to big savings, plus over $600 in digital coupons each week, and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. At Kroger, you always get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Mix and match 5 or more items for just 99 cents each with your card. Choose Campbell's Soup, Kroger brand pasta, North Sides, and more. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Master Grillers Unite. The grilling season never ends at Billiards Plus. Come see their best-in-class grills for yourself and check out Central Ohio's largest selection of pool tables, game furniture, and shuffleboard. Family-owned and operated. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
What's the best way to make sure you don't miss any of your favorite fan shows? Oh no! Download the Fan app, silly.
Ah, damn it, I knew that.
App Store, Google Play, or just scream right at your phone. Psst, you can also listen to Buckeye games. Do it now.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty. Do you want to sell your property, however, you need a little help getting through the process? Let's say you have years of belongings in the home. It needs a lot of updating, you're overwhelmed, and you may need help finding a place to go. I will help you. Visit us today at TurboTrackRealty.com or call me now for an all-cash offer and, more importantly, the help you need at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Hey there, I'm Brad. I'm about to win the Tuesday Night Bowling League Championship. I'm also a highway worker for the Ohio Department of Transportation. When you move over and slow down, you're not only giving me room to work, you're making sure I can bowl the winning strike with my buddies.
Roadside workers have lives and families, but when they're on the job, they put it all on the line to protect and serve us. Remember, they're not just roadside workers. Thank you for moving over and slowing down.
Brought to you by ODOT, USDOT, NHTSA, and ODPS.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
We're looking at a perfect afternoon with a high near 80 and lots of sunshine. Temperatures tonight will drop down into the mid-50s, mostly clear. For your Thursday, high in the low 80s, but that'll lead to pop-up showers and storms by the afternoon. Rain chances will pick back up on Friday, especially the afternoon and evening. Highs in the 70s. That's your latest 10 weather impact forecast. I'm meteorologist Michael Behrens on 97.1 The Fan.
An encyclopedic knowledge of sports and other random things you may or may not care about.
I think I found my mentor.
Rockman and Ice.
Weekdays from noon to 3.
The Fan. Find us on YouTube. Search WBNS Radio and you can see what Bo looks like. But only if you subscribe. This is Bishop and Friends.
And we are brought to you by our great friends at Diamond Cellar, your true jeweler for over 78 years. Reese, you'll remember this. This was one of our summer series 20 most interesting programs that we do every year. This was 4 or 5 years ago. It was before Oklahoma moved to the Southeastern Conference, and we had a guest on. From OU. I'm blanking on the name, but it was a name of someone who, yes, absolutely would make sense that he covered OU. And we were talking about Oklahoma. And he said something. I asked him a question about, kind of the Sooners, and there were rumors of movement, and then inevitably they ended up going to the SEC. And he said, well, a big part of this was the fan base was sick of not having home games that they wanted to attend. That their biggest game was played at a neutral site, that in the years in the Big 12 where they were they would always try to do a big non-conference game. I mean, we've played in those games. Florida State's played in those games. I think before they got to the SEC, maybe in Alabama did. So they've had these big non-conference games. But on the years where that non-conference game was away, the home slate was littered with TCUs and Baylors and teams like that, Texas Tech, and even worse than that, West Virginia, and now soon to be Cincinnati, and all these other things. And from the OU perspective, it was like, we're not interested in these games. We're not going to come to these games. We demand something more, and that's what led to Oklahoma. One of the factors that led to Oklahoma going to the SEC was, now be careful what you wish for. It didn't go well for them in year one, but they're spending a lot of money, and we'll see what they do in year two. But part of it was so that they could have games like the one they had last November when Alabama came to Norman. That was part of it. So one thing that we know that these athletic directors and coaches are aware of is your demand to see games that you're interested in and not a steady diet of nonsense. Now, I've often said that, yes, the Big Ten plays 9 conference games, but there is a built-in bottom of the Big Ten that is, quite honestly, not very desirable in terms of a scheduling standpoint. There is. There's nobody. You just pull up the Buckeye schedule for this year, and you think about these home games. You have some traditional home games in there. But, for example, the senior day game this year is Rutgers. Rutgers has been in this league for over a decade now. What's your buzz level on the Scarlet Knights coming in here November 22nd? You see the problem? That's the problem. Is there's built-in bottom here that allows for Ohio State to do what it's doing at the top of its schedule, which is playing Texas. So you have Texas this year, you have Texas next year, you're going to play Alabama in future years. So there's, to me, at a place like Ohio State, you can do it because the Big Ten provides you enough bottom feeders and enough games on the schedule that are just not desirable enough. So you have to do stuff like what Ohio State's doing next year by playing Texas here and then having the Penn State game here. And now you have some marquee games that are on the schedule in the year where you don't play your rivalry game at home. Matt Rule is the coach at Nebraska. His philosophy is dramatically different. He was on Urban's Triple Option podcast and gave an incredibly candid response to Nebraska's philosophy going forward in power scheduling. Here's Matt Rule.
Why would you ever play one of those games? We're being completely honest. Like, Coach Meyer, I'm at a lucky point in my life where at my 4th job and after getting fired in the NFL, I kind of say what I feel nowadays. I could care less. Why in the world would a Big Ten team who's already playing 9 conference games, why would you ever play one of those games? Like, what? Like, you look at a lot of teams, like there's, and I love it's not anti-SEC, but like there's some SEC teams that last year only played 3 away games in another team's stadium. 3. We're in a league where some years you have 5 home Big Ten games. Some year you have 5 road. You have to go on the road 5 times in the Big Ten. Yeah. They proved to us this year when they did all the seeding and all that stuff that early season wins didn't mean a thing. That really it was at the end of the day what you looked like in the last month of the season. That's what it all proved to us.
I agree.
If you look at it, and when I say what it looks like, it's really how good your offense is. I don't know why. I don't know what the incentive is. Unless at some point the Big Ten SEC get together and they say, hey, we're doing this, we're doing that. But when I joined the Big Ten, the thought of playing Oregon would have been like, wow, that'd be a great non-conference game. Well, now they're in the league. USC's coming here next year, going to UCLA. We've already added in those big games, and so I don't see much cause for it. I think Ryan's a great guy to go to play Texas again to start the year off. But I don't know what the point is in terms of if you're a Big Ten team getting to the playoff.
You buy that?
It's chicken bleep, but I don't think he's alone. I think there are a lot of coaches that feel similarly. I think it was Kirby Smart that had made not that type of statement, but commenting to Sankey, like, what are we doing here? Like, what are we doing with the current schedule of events? Like, the SEC adds a 9th conference game. They're not doing anything like this anymore. Like, Ohio State, I think, it's got Alabama and Georgia coming up. I don't think those games are getting played at all.
Yeah, I don't know either. If they go to 9, I don't know. If they go to 9, they're going to demand more money from ESPN if they go to 9. Kirby's schedule last year was insane. That's the toughest schedule I've ever seen in college football. What he did last year at Georgia, that was absolutely nuts to play the schedule that they played. I think Matt Rule spoke truth for where Matt Rule currently coaches. And I think it's a philosophy that my hunch is James Franklin shares absolutely, which is get me my 11 wins, get me into the playoff. Folks, think about how much Penn State benefited from a perception standpoint by getting into the playoff. Now, what did they do once they got there? They beat SMU at home, and then they beat Boise State in the desert, and then they lost to Notre Dame. But you don't look back on it that way. You look back on it and say, Penn State was in the national semifinal. That's how they're looking back on it. That's how their fan base looks back on it. Why do you think they're not playing Michigan, Ohio State every year on their schedule going forward? It's not because they're unrivaled. It's because James Franklin found a loophole. He said, I win 10, 11 games in this league. I'm going to make the playoff every year. I make the playoff every year. Who knows what my path will be? Now I just need a little bit of luck and see what happens. And they wrote it. Matt Rule saw that and said, sign me up. Sign me up. I don't need to play all these monster teams. I need to win 10 games. I mean, at Nebraska, I need to win 6, 7 games. I get to become bowl eligible. I don't want to skip steps. But at the same time, that's his vantage point. And guess who's going to lose in all of this? His fans. Because I'm telling you, ask a Nebraska fan, I promise you they're going to want to play Oklahoma if they can. I promise you they're going to want to play big non-conference games. Nebraska's football schedule for next year opens with Cincinnati at Arrowhead on Thursday, August 28th. Then it's Akron, Houston Christian, Michigan is how they finish September. Then it's Michigan State, Maryland, Minnesota, Northwestern. And then they close USC, UCLA, Penn State, Iowa. That's their final stretch of games. It's the last month of the season for them. You could understand how that's attractive enough because of the way that they close. USC, UCLA, Penn State, Iowa. That's pretty good. They're playing a bigger non-conference game with Cincinnati. I think he said the quiet part out loud.
It seems like we're getting more and more of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
People saying the quiet parts out loud. And I guess Matt Rule can do that because he's on his 4th job, like he said. But I remember the one plus we thought to having a college football playoff was, man, we're going to get more marquee matchups during the regular season because a team can afford a loss or maybe 2 and still make it. Well, boy, has that been poo-pooed right away here. And the things that we talked about yesterday, which hasn't happened yet, but the committee talking about possibly putting teams into the playoff because of TV ratings. Man, I never liked the expanded playoff anyway, me personally.
I don't either, no.
It's taken 2 major hits to me the past couple of days hearing these things.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if you are at a place like this, then I think there's a demand from the fan base that you play games that I want to go to. So that's how you get Texas, right? And I think they've been really smart in, okay, so you open with Texas, then you got some cupcakes, then you're into the Big Ten, and the year you play Texas at home, then you're at Ann Arbor. So, like, those things add up, but you still get Penn State at home. And I think they'll make sure there's always that. There's always 2 marquee games on the schedule. At a place like Nebraska, a place like Penn State, they just want to get into the dance. That's their win. And I think that's what Rule said. He just said the quiet part out loud. Get Jake Trotter's take on all of this and everything happening around college football in 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
Hey, it's Leslie from Pella Columbus.
I'm Wilson from that other window place. Wait, Leslie, what is that dude doing over there at that window?
Well, that dude is Chase, and Chase is making that window look perfect. We're sticklers on detail, Wilson, both in our showroom and definitely in people's homes.
Chase, be careful. May have spilled some coffee over there just a bit ago.
Oh, he knows. He seems to work a lot more when you're around, Wilson. Get the window that homeowners rated the leading window brand in Columbus at PellaColumbus.com.
Before you start your day, UDF has already started making your breakfast right in our bakery. We've got buttery, flaky croissants baked before the crack of dawn. We're making fluffy buttermilk biscuits from scratch by the time the sun starts to think about rising. And before you hit your first alarm, we've piled our biscuits and croissants high with sausage, egg, and cheese right in store. So come in and grab a fresh one and let us make you a morning person. Fresh baked breakfast sandwiches from United Dairy Farmers. UDF, mornings made for you.
There's a new way to surround yourself with savings at Giant Eagle and Market District. Shop Giant Eagle's uncompromising quality at a reliable price with everyday savings. Look for signs throughout the store to find bargains on produce, meat, and more. Visit Giant Eagle to see how easy it is to save.
It's Lindsay's one and only trade-a-thon.
Trade up today and get $1,000 above market for your vehicle. Choose a 2025 Honda Ridgeline RTL or an all-wheel drive HRV LX or a CRV LX and pay just $299 a month. 3 models with one very low Lindsay price.
Trade up to the reliability of a new or certified Honda.
So lock in your price today. The one and only Lindsay Honda Trade-a-thon is back.
See lindsayhonda.com for details.
The Roofing Guys are your locally owned, trusted family business right here in Central Ohio. They've been hammering quality and service through the roof for over 25 years, offering professional services in roofing, siding, gutters, and more. Contact them at theroofingguys.com. That's theroofingguys.com.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Let me introduce you to a man with a magnificent salt and pepper beard. A man who's currently roasting lamb on a spit. A man who runs the Rocky River Greek Festival. That man is Jake Trotter.
Indeed it is, and the senior college football reporter at ESPN joins us on the Brian Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. We just played some audio, buddy, of Matt Rule. He was on Urban's podcast, The Triple Option, talking about why would anybody schedule big non-conference games anymore? That essentially saying that if I can get to 10 wins, then I'm going to make the playoff out of the Big Ten, and that should be my scheduling philosophy going forward, that the Big Ten schedule is enough that they shouldn't have to play the big non-conference games. Now, this is interesting, of course, because Nebraska at one point, the rival that meant the most to them was the Oklahoma game. You're very familiar with that. When you hear a coach at a place like Nebraska, which has fallen off a cliff, obviously, in the last 20 years, talk out loud like that, what do you make of it?
Well, I think he's saying that we are not good enough to get to the playoff by playing non-conference games. You heard, I don't know if you remember, last Big Ten Media Days, Lincoln Riley essentially said the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that we're going to be playing Notre Dame anymore because we've got enough on our plate in the Big Ten. And he's not wrong. They're not necessarily wrong about that, especially as this playoff evolves, and who knows, maybe you're getting automatic spots from the Big Ten. So why even mess with a big non-conference game? I think if you're Ohio State, you're Michigan, you're Alabama, you're Georgia, you can still play those games because I think you're going to get the benefit of the doubt with the selection committee most times. And I think that your program is just on the type of tier where you're not afraid of losing those games. You're thinking, we win these games, we get the number 1 overall seed. So it's probably going to trend the way that Matt Rule suggests it's going to for, everybody, I think, outside maybe the top 5-10 programs who are still going to want to play those games. But I can understand if you're Lincoln Riley and you look at your schedule and we got Oregon, we've got, Michigan, we've got Penn State, we've got Ohio State. Like, why are we playing another top 5 program? It just doesn't make any sense for us.
Yeah, and that's what James Franklin did with his Big Ten schedule and what Penn State did when they said, we don't need to play Ohio State and Michigan. We don't want to. From what I understand, both Ohio State and Michigan, when they redid the Big Ten schedule, say they were all able to pick a couple of teams that were like rival games that were protected. And both Ohio State and Michigan put Penn State on that list. Penn State didn't put anybody on that list because they didn't want to. And it worked. I just was talking about this
with Nebraska, by the way, Bo. When they went to the Big 12, Oklahoma and Nebraska played in the Big 8 every year, Thanksgiving weekend, had a lot of, classic rivalry games over the years. And then when it went to the Big 12, Nebraska and Oklahoma did not play each other anymore. I think they played every other year. And the rivalry basically, fell apart at that point. And it's kind of the other way around where Oklahoma was in bad shape in the 90s. Nebraska was rolling under Tom Osborne. And for whatever reason, the two sides didn't, make it a big enough point to keep the rivalry going. So I think that, if you're Nebraska, I understand why you wouldn't want to play more games because you can't win the games that are in your conference. So are you going to add another loss to your schedule?
I do. That's interesting. I didn't know that part about Oklahoma and Nebraska in the Big 12 opting not to play. Do you recall who pushed to not play? Or were they both kind of like, we're good?
I think they were, if I remember, this is 1994. So if I remember correctly, I think it was Oklahoma who at the time was like, we're adding Texas as a conference game. That's going to be our primary rival going forward, and we're okay if we don't play Nebraska every year. I think Nebraska was fine with it and actually wanted to play Oklahoma. Nebraska was coming off three national championship appearances and what was it, a 4 or 5 year span. And Oklahoma had gone had fallen apart after Barry Switzer resigned. So I think that's what happened. But yeah, I mean, it's, this is the bummer about conference realignment is that we just don't have a lot of these games that we get Ohio State, Texas, right? We get Ohio State, Oregon, that's a lot of fun. But we've lost, some rivalry games like Oklahoma, Nebraska too.
Yeah, and the thing, it's funny, I just told this story at the top of the hour because I actually used Oklahoma as the example. We do this thing called 20 Most Interesting Programs in the summer, and it was on Nebraska, it was on Oklahoma, and this is right around the time they joined the SEC. It must have been just after. And we had a beat writer on him, the name escapes me, but he said that part of the reason Oklahoma felt like they had to get to the SEC is they did not have enough home games that their fans were excited about. Because the biggest game they played every year was a neutral site game, and that Bedlam every other year just wasn't enough. Meantime, I'm hearing this and thinking, well, Nebraska every other year would have been something that would have probably hit in that. So it kind of depends on where you are in the sport. But the point I was making on Penn State was no one's going to look back and go, Penn State beat SMU at home and beat Boise State. They're going to say Penn State played in the national semifinals. That's how they're going to be remembered. And you already see that this year with the momentum Penn State has going into next year. So maybe Rule's on to something with this because I think James Franklin probably shares his opinion.
Yeah, and if you're Oklahoma, do you want to play interesting home games or you want to go 10-2, 11-1?
Yeah.
Because now, okay, you get to play LSU and Georgia and Florida at home, but you're also 6-6, 5-7 right now. And I mean, this is a huge year for Oklahoma, and not just Brent Venables, but speaking of big non-conference games, you know who they play week 2 at home?
I do. Yeah.
They play Michigan, and I don't know what to make of Michigan yet. It probably hinges a lot on what Bryce Underwood brings to the table from day one. But we saw last year Michigan. We know they're going to be able to run the ball. We know they're going to play good defense. And if Oklahoma loses that game at home, you look at the rest of their schedule in the SEC, I don't even see a path really to bowl eligibility at that point. Now, they've made some big moves in the portal, getting Mateer, the quarterback from Washington State, and most recently Jaden Ott from Cal, who's a fabulous player when he's been healthy. So, I think they have a chance to be better. But again, would you rather be in the playoff or would you rather play LSU at home? They opted for the latter. And for the long-term health of the program, you see a lot of similarities between what Oklahoma looks like it might become and what Nebraska is now in the Big Ten.
And everything that you're saying is something that if you told a Nebraska fan in 1994 that 20 years from now you're going to be irrelevant, they would have said, are you out of your mind? We just won 3 national titles in a 5-year period. What are you talking about? Are you kidding? There's no way. But that's how quickly this thing can all slip. And the other thing I wanted, and it's interesting, we were talking a little bit about OU here, just kind of stumbled into it, but they had the 5-star defensive tackle from last year who jumped in the portal, then jumped out. We had the Iamaleava stuff that happened where jumped in, jumped out, and then we have a quarterback swap where the UCLA quarterback is now going to Tennessee, and Iamaleava is there. The thing that I thought was really interesting, and I'm curious your thoughts on this, the Madden Iamaleava, the freshman, goes to Arkansas, gets NIL, then transfers, is there for 2 months, then transfers to UCLA to join his brother. And Arkansas says, hey, we're going to need a little bit of money back on this thing. What do you make of how, with the Iamaleava stuff that Tennessee did, Arkansas, what OU did to keep their guy, it feels like programs are starting to bow up a little bit to the demands.
Yeah, they of course created the system that we're in. Like, you didn't create it, I didn't create it. Like, they allowed this to happen. The House settlement, I think, is when the House settlement finally is done. We have a framework of college version of a CBA almost, what are going to be the parameters for the salary cap, which, sounds like is going to be 20 points, basically Ohio State's roster last year, 20.5, 21. But then you're going to have the ability for collectives to still step in and supplement those annual salaries. But okay, I think like if you're a college program and if we had a college czar, I think a decent compromise would be these contracts are, 2-3 years and you can transfer once, twice. I mean, we've got to have rules. Like we have no rules right now, and it's the absolute Wild West. And then you saw with Tennessee, all of a sudden, you lose your star quarterback in the spring over money. Like you think that that's going to be the last. It is not. We're going to have more of this going forward until, we have like, a stable system where there's a standard and there's rules and, you follow them. Right now, I don't know, like, Arkansas go to court, but,
how are they going to get their money?
I don't know. I know. That's what I'm saying. It's
because there's no contracts, allegedly.
Totally insane right now. So, yeah, like, I think that with the NFL, I mean, all college has to do is look to the NFL and say, okay, what version of this can we take to stabilize our game? And I think, all right, there's still going to be a portal. You can still transfer. Maybe you can transfer twice. These contracts you sign out of high school or after you arrive through the portal, they have some teeth to them. And it works the other way, too. Like, if you promise you're going to pay a kid, like, you pay them. We've seen it, allegations that go in the other way as well. So, yeah, it's a total mess. And it's kind of a bummer in some ways that it's gotten this out of hand. But, again, like, I don't feel bad for anybody because, you guys asked for this.
Yeah. You drove it into the iceberg, buddy. That's what they did with this whole thing. So we'll see if anything comes of it. Always enjoy the conversation, my friend. Thanks for giving us a little bit of your time today.
Enjoy the draft this weekend, though. See ya.
Yeah, you too. Jake Trotter, senior college football reporter and writer at ESPN, joining on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. We do a little thing or not a thing up next. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
Head to 971thefan.com to listen on demand and subscribe to all our podcasts. Wasting time has never been easier. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Start at Indeed.com/credit.
It's here, Diamonds Direct's annual spring sale. Take an extra 20% off our already renowned prices. Plus, book an appointment and get an additional $100 off your purchase. That's 20% off plus $100 off store-wide. Explore an expanded selection of trending engagement ring settings, his and hers wedding bands, must-have fine jewelry, and more. But hurry, this limited-time sale ends April 27th, and we're even open this Sunday. Don't miss out. Visit DiamondsDirect.com for details.
Aaron, I've got an idea.
Is it a new invention?
Of course it is. That's why I'm known as Jerry the Genius.
Really? I've never heard anyone call you that.
Get Eco.
ECO. I've invented the hot water heater ambulance.
Does it have lights and sirens?
No.
It would be better if it had lights and sirens.
Get Eco.
ECO. So you agree that being without hot water is an emergency, right?
Of course I do. That's why we guarantee to replace your water heater the same day you call us.
But what if I call late in the afternoon?
Call us anytime before 5 p.m. and we'll get it installed that day.
Get Eco.
ECO. But what if after you get there, I change my mind and decide I want a tankless water heater instead of one like I had?
Then we'll install a tankless water heater for you instead of the one you had.
Same day?
Same day.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Eco plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians.
Go to GetEco.com.
Bobby Carpenter here for Germain Toyota. Swing by Germain Toyota and ask for Marcello and discover unbeatable deals and a wide selection of new and certified pre-owned Toyota vehicles. Visit them at germaintoyota.net. Germain Toyota on the corner of I-70 and Bryce Road.
Let's go to the floor with some late-breaking developments on the markets. Jim?
Up things are down, down things are up.
Sounds like things
You don't understand. Right is left, lemons are sweet, spaghetti is cold, the milk is warm.
Okay, but are you seeing anything that maybe smart-minded money people should know about?
Yeah. Apex Pros.
The pros who knows?
Probably one of the most stable things you can do is an Apex Pros air conditioner tune-up.
Air conditioner tune-ups, you say?
Oh, yeah. Apex Pros knows most expensive summer breakdowns can be prevented by getting a tune-up now.
Yes, it's known that a tuned-up AC lowers energy bills, which is important to...
Oh, this is unbelievable.
What, big sell-off? Huge increase?
No, I spilled coffee on my new shirt. Anyway, tune-up save on energy bills, plus make your air conditioner last years longer.
Good to know Apex Pros keeps things stable and predictable.
That's on my pants, too. This is the worst day. This is historic. You know that.
No doubt about it. Columbus loves Apex Pros. The pros who knows. ApexPros.com.
Sometimes you don't realize something was bothering you
until it's gone.
That's how you're going to feel
after we work our magic at your house.
We make junk disappear.
All you have to do is point.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK
or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
Fish has been named the third best sports program director in the country. The two dudes who finished ahead of him are dead. So we're declaring him the winner. You're listening to the home of champions, the Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Men, is good enough really what you want with your sex life? This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health. And if erectile dysfunction is making for a bad bedroom experience for you and your partner, you should call us because you want your intimacy to be fantastic, both for you and the one you love. At Tri-State Men's Health, our treatments have success rates of well over 90%. And because we're a medical practice focused on men's sexual health, we can offer many treatment options and even combine treatments to find the right one for you. Which means if you're like most of our patients, we can likely get you performing like you haven't in years. So make an appointment and make a change from good enough to really good. And for a limited time, we're offering new patients a free first visit to help you get the care you deserve. This includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose to demonstrate to you the amazing effectiveness of our treatments. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com. We have 6 offices in the tri-state area to serve you. Tri-State Men's Health, a Promenic restorative health practice.
The Fan Poll is brought to you by Caster Connection. Visit CasterConnection.com to shop online or to work with our Caster Solution specialists.
The best hair on the air. You are listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, time for a little thing or not a thing on a first Friday. Hit it, fellas.
Thing or not a thing.
Sponsored by Apex Plumbing Pros.
The Baltimore Sun reported Tuesday that some Orioles fans were mistakenly charged $8,999 instead of $89.99 for the Mid-Atlantic Sports Network Plus, or MASN Plus, a new direct-to-consumer streaming option introduced this week by the Mid-Atlantic Sports Network. MASN spokesperson says fans charged the incorrect amount, were contacted, and immediately issued refunds. Thing or not a thing?
Funny thing. What is your guys' level of concern if this happened to you?
1,000 out of 10.
So I don't think I'd have much concern just because I would probably have this on my credit card and not coming out of my bank account. So
right.
It would just be a, hey, guys, let's get this fixed, report it to my credit card company and move on. But I could understand how some people's probably... things down in the lower region probably went up into their throat pretty quick.
It does feel like in most instances where something like this happened. This is a funny thing, by the way. $89.99 to $8,999. It's one of those things where, like, on my Amex, I get a notification like large purchase approved or not present large purchase approved type thing. I get that a lot. And so I see this thing and I'm thinking to myself, if this popped up, there would be like a what the what? And then the reality of these type of things typically get sorted out pretty quickly with the credit card companies. So that's probably how it was for most. But I could certainly empathize with those like you, Reese, who are like, wait, what just happened?
Yeah.
This is a... I'm guessing that, like you said, Bo, it's at first it's a shocking thing, and you're like, what's going on here, especially if you have this tied up to your bank account, and it's coming out of your bank account, and you get overdrafted and all of that stuff. But hopefully they make this right with people, maybe even give them a free month or a free week or something to help smooth this over. But, yeah, it's, in hindsight, a funny thing.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that sitting there just being like a customer service representative. for the Mid-Atlantic Sports Network that day, or the days that I'm assuming people looked at their credit card statements and said, we did what now?
Yeah, we know.
For the Orioles?
How many people would they even have, like, in customer service for Masson?
1, 2.
Yeah, like, and they probably got 1,000 calls.
Yep.
Could you?
I hope. I mean,
emails.
I think that's a good fan base, and they have a young, exciting team. Like, I imagine there's a lot of them. There's probably a handful of people who handle it.
Could you imagine it being Sunday and you're getting beat 24-2 and you get charged $9,000? You're like, what's going on here?
Former NFL kicker Jay Feely told ESPN Tuesday he's going to run for the U.S. House of Representatives in Arizona's 5th Congressional District during the 2026 midterm election. The 48-year-old Feely filed a statement of interest with the Arizona Secretary of State. That's required before a candidate can begin collecting signatures for a spot on the ballot. He told ESPN, quote, I'm excited about this next chapter of my life. I think that I feel God's calling pressing me into service, and that's really what I believe it is, the civil service. I don't believe we have enough politicians that get into political office not for self-serving measures, and that getting into political office and that don't want it to be a career, and that's what I believe. Feely kicked in the NFL for 14 seasons. He retired in 2014. He spent the past 10 years broadcasting NFL games for CBS. A thing or not a thing?
I would like one of these guys who claims this, that I'm going to be the one who's not out here trying to make a career out of it. I'm going to be here to serve my fellow man, and then I'm going to get out. I want one of these guys to, on their own, leave after 2 terms and bounce. Say, that's it. I want one of them, because they all claim this. They all claim that they don't want to be career politicians. But here's my hunch. Once you get to this type, so what's he running for? House of Rep. Once you end up being this, okay, U.S. House. Okay, yeah. So once you end up one of these guys and you're in Washington, I think the life is so good and it's such a gravy train that none of them want to leave it. That's why you see people up. I mean, you got guys in their 90s not giving up these seats because it's such a good life. So God bless him. Whatever, if it works out, great. Whatever, I have no idea where he comes politically. Not that it matters here on this program, but just from the standpoint of, like, I would like to see one of these guys who claims that they're not just like every other politician actually leave when their elected term is up and said, I did the best I could while I was here, and I'm out, instead of turning it into a career that lasts forever.
The first thing I thought of when I saw this was, well, what about his broadcasting career? Is he still going to call games? Because Jay Feely's been calling games for a while now, and I thought he's always been pretty good and gotten better even as time went on. So, selfish thing, I was like, hey, is he going to still be calling games? I'd like to hear him some more.
Well, Baker, the Lord has called him into service.
It's the Lord.
Much like contracts would fix a lot with college football, or college athletics, really, term limits would fix a lot of our problems in Washington.
I wonder if he got a lamb cake.
Probably didn't get chicken juice all over it.
I had no idea. I got a lot of people saying to me that lamb was something to do with Jesus, and I've really failed Sunday school, apparently, because I don't recall lambs being involved, but God bless.
Dan Orlovsky was on Get Up and had this to say about Ole Miss quarterback Jackson Dart.
Yeah, for me, he's the guy that 2 or 3 years from now we look back and go, man, people are wrong on him. He's the steal of the draft, essentially. I just believe, Greeny, when you watch his tape, he's so similar to Bo Nix last year, and wow, a lot better than I had anticipated. I think you got to build crossers into his game. Ole Miss did it a ton, and his ability to see the defense with the ball fake and that backside defender, what type of throw is needed. He sits a little bit of a touch throw, work in the middle of the field, I think Kellen Moore and crossers. And then arm strength. When you're drafting these guys, arm strength is a necessary thing in the first round. So when you're talking about a guy that has physical traits, sees the field well, wasn't given a lot when it comes to easy offense, the ball had to get pushed down the field. For me, since day one, it's been Jackson Dart as the intrigue.
Thing or not a thing.
All right, here's the I don't know if you guys are this way, but this is, and you find yourself second guessing everything when it comes to quarterback in the draft. If I were an NFL team, this is the game that I would have a very difficult time shaking if I were to draft Jackson Dart in the first round. It's the Florida game. It's the second to last game of the year for them. They had just beaten Georgia at home. They had just smoked Arkansas. Dart played his best game against Arkansas. He's 25 of 31, 515, 6 touchdowns, no picks. That's the Arkansas game for him. Okay? So then they go to they beat Georgia at home, and they are headed to the playoff. Ole Miss is headed to the playoff. That's where they're headed. They go to Gainesville and take on a very average Florida team. They lose 24-17. Dart was 24 of 41, 323, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. The second of those picks is one of the worst interceptions you'll ever see. Now, he also ran for 71 yards in this game, but I can't unsee that. And that's the same thing I have with Milroe. Not to say, but it's more of a me problem than it's a their problem. I can't unsee Milroe against Oklahoma. I can't unsee it.
It's kind of like that throw that's going around the internet of Tyler Shuck in the one game where he just kind of underhanded. So you're like, what the heck was that? Listen, I respect Dan Orlovsky's opinion on quarterbacks because he's someone that played the position and he was a grinder. He mentions Bo Nix a little bit in there, that he sees some similarities with Jackson Dart to Bo Nix. Bo Nix was pretty daggone accurate in his college career, especially his last season. I don't know if Jackson Dart was ever that accurate like Bo Nix. The one thing I love that Dan Orlovsky says here, and I feel like it gets lost a lot of times, we get coaches that have a system. This is the offense we want to run. We're going to bring this guy in, and he's going to run this offense. And I don't think enough coaches build their offenses around their strengths of their players anymore, especially their quarterback. He talks about he needs crossers in his game. So if you're going to draft this guy, you got to incorporate these things in your offense. I feel like we've lost that in football a little bit. Coaches seem to get stuck in this is what I do, this is what works, rather than building something around the strengths of their players.
Yeah, I think it's fair. And we're going to have Nate Davis on at 11:30, and he goes over he has the top 50 biggest NFL draft busts the last 50 years. There's a lot of fun that we can have with this. Some of our guys are on this list. But is there any common denominator that makes someone a bust and makes us miss certain red flags? That's the conversation I want to have. We'll hit a little Hey Guys coming up next. Still time to get your questions into the fellas at 971BFS on the YouTube chat as well. Winner's going to get that $50 gift card to our great friends at High Bank, Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
The Big Nine was a sad, incomplete place. Enter Ohio State. The rest is history. The Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
The Fan.
Ever thought about teeing off in Ohio Stadium? Now is your chance with Upper Deck Golf. Play around in the Shoe, April 24th through 26th. Bring your friends and hit shots from the upper deck onto custom greens on the iconic field below. You'll start and end your round at the Stadium Clubhouse with great music, cold beverages, food, and interactive golfing challenges. Make it a VIP experience with additional perks, including free entry into driving, chipping, and putting challenges. Tee times will go fast. Register now at upperdeckgolfing.com to book a tee time. That's upperdeckgolfing.com.
It's a different world today than it was 30 years ago when I started Care Heating and Cooling. This is Mike Weens, now the retired founder of Care Heating and Cooling with my sons, Dennis and Ryan.
Dad, 30 years ago, you were the first to warn of companies using service technicians as salespeople, of abusing the trust that a service technician has. With the big conglomerates now buying companies all over Central Ohio, this has become the normal business model.
It's all about greed. The conglomerates know they can make a lot more money by incentivizing their technicians to sell air conditioners instead of fixing them. They train their techs to take advantage of a customer when they are the most vulnerable.
Dad, that is not how we were taught. In 2024, Care Heating and Cooling was awarded a BBB Torch Award for ethics and was named the Lennox Partner of the Year. You don't earn those awards by leaving cat toys behind.
Call Care Heating and Cooling at 1-800-COOLING or schedule an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com. When you need a company you can trust.
Men over 40, struggling with low energy, not feeling like yourself, Low T Center's testosterone replacement therapy is the solution. Get started today. Visit one of their conveniently located clinics, meet a medical provider, and get back to feeling your best. This April only, the consultation is free. Treatment is tailor-made just for you, and it's covered by most major insurance. Get treated at one of the Low T Centers or from home. Why wait? Book your appointment now at lowtcenter.com. That's lowtcenter.com.
Discover uncompromising quality at a reliable price with Giant Eagle and Market District. Find everyday savings and bargains on produce, meat, and more. Look for signs throughout the store highlighting long-term lower prices. With our weekly sales, deals for days promotions, and My Perks loyalty program, Giant Eagle helps make the most out of every shopping trip. Surround yourself with savings at Giant Eagle and experience value like never before. Visit Giant Eagle and Market District today to see how easy it is to save.
Welcome to Cane's.
It's Luke Bryan. What can I get you?
Today I'm raising funds with Raising Cane's and my buddy Todd Graves for the Brett Boyer Foundation. Great food
and a great cause. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers
and the Brett Boyer Foundation.
One love.
The Bobcat National Sales Event is happening now at Bobcat Enterprises. Get up to $10,000 in rebates or choose financing as low as 0% for 60 months on the industry's most comfortable compact loaders. See Bobcat Enterprises in Hilliard, Reynoldsburg, or Zanesville today for incredible savings during the National Sales Event, and find the current specials and full line of products at bobcatent.com. Some restrictions apply. Length of contract and rate may vary. Offer ends June 30th, 2025. Bobcat Enterprises, celebrating 50 years of serving you.
Hey folks, Austin Ward here with an opportunity to lose 40 by the 4th. Yes, pounds, and why not? I dropped my first 40 in just 8 weeks. It was easy, and it will be easy for you too. Take the medication-free and lasting approach. Awaken180weightloss.com.
It's Lindsay's one and only trade-a-thon.
Trade up today and get $1,000 above market for your vehicle. Choose a 2025 Honda Ridgeline RTL or an all-wheel drive HRV LX or a CRV LX and pay just $299 a month. 3 models with one very low Lindsay price.
Trade up to the reliability of a new or certified Honda.
So lock in your price today. The one and only Lindsay Honda Trade-a-thon is back.
See lindsayhonda.com for details.
Good morning, Doctor.
Doctor?
Hi, Doctor.
Doctor?
Dr. Jackson's practice is growing.
What do you mean we're still short-staffed?
He needs a good patient doctor.
How do we not have enough doctors to doctor all these patients?
And he doesn't have the patience to sift through hundreds of resumes.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Vivid Seats is your ultimate destination for basketball and hockey this season. With a game-changing rewards program and an unbeatable selection of tickets, they make it easy for every fan to watch their favorite teams and players in action. Catch every one-timer and buzzer-beating 3 live and in person from your favorite seat. Plus, every ticket is backed by a 100% buyer guarantee, giving you peace of mind with every purchase. Don't miss out. Visit VividSeats.com or download the app today. Vivid Seats, the official ticketing partner of ESPN.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. The college football transfer portal closes on Friday. It was a 10-day spring window. This morning, third-year running back T.C. Caffey entered the portal. He's the 4th member of the football team to enter. 5 members of the men's basketball team have entered the portal. Sean Stewart became the latest. He announced his plans to enter on Tuesday. The men's basketball window closes tonight at midnight. Stewart transferred from Duke last season. He started 30 games at center for the Buckeyes this season. In baseball today, the Guardians host the Yankees at 1:10. Cleveland can sweep New York with a win on Wednesday. Same time in Miami, the Marlins host the Reds in the rubber match of their 3-game set. And in the NBA, the Cavs can take a 2-0 lead on the Heat with a win tonight in Game 2 of their first-round playoff series. This update is sponsored by Dr. Mark Levy. If you're snoring and not sleeping, give Dr. Mark Levy's office a call at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. That's 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. Or visit him online at sleepbettercolumbus.com.
Bo knows many people. He talks to the interesting ones on this show. This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, final hour here on a First Friday Miracle Edition. Time for a little Hey Guys. Hit it, fellas.
Nothing is off limits. Your participation is required. Just use the hashtag #HeyGuys and ask anything you want. Do it now.
Sponsored by High Bank Distillery, home of the best blended whiskey in America. Grab a bottle or dine in at their 3 restaurant locations: Grandview, Gahanna, and now in Westerville. Drink local. Drink High Bank.
Yeah, the best one here gets that $50 gift card to our great friends at High Bank and the Distillery Tour and tasting for up to 10 people. High Bank Distillery, home of the best blended whiskey in America, 3 years running, right here in town. Scoop it up. The bourbon, I think, still on the shelves a little bit, too. Batch number 2. Hit it, Reese. Go ahead.
We'll start in the YouTube chat. Dustin asks, take 3 teams out of the Big Ten and add 3. Who are you booting? Who are you adding?
Okay. Is it fair for me to take from other conferences, or do I have to take?
You can take from other conferences.
Okay. Then I just would have done the very simple thing, which should have been done, 15 years ago when all of this shook out, and I would get rid of. How many do I get to get rid of? 3?
Yep. Remove 3, add 3.
I'm going to get rid of Rutgers. I'm going to get rid of Maryland. And I'm going to get rid of... Who's the third? I mean, I hate Indiana. I hate the state of Indiana. It's well documented. But I don't know. I mean, there's such historical pull there. I'll get rid of UCLA, I guess. But here's what I would do. I'm going to change it. Maryland, Rutgers out, Texas, Oklahoma in. Done. That's what they should have done. They could have had Texas and Oklahoma 15 years ago when they added Maryland and Rutgers. They should have just done that.
Those were the first two that I thought of, right? Texas, Oklahoma. I'm going to add those two. I'm going to add Notre Dame as well. Rutgers, Maryland, bye-bye.
Who's your third?
And Nebraska's the easy one, but if I'm bringing Oklahoma and Texas, I feel like I've got to keep. And I feel like I can't get rid of any of the West Coast teams because they need people to play as well.
So it comes down to Indiana, Minnesota, Illinois, Purdue.
I was kind of leaning Purdue, but they're pretty good in basketball. I think the one that I'd get rid of is Northwestern there. I know that's tradition and history, but
yeah,
I think Northwestern goes.
Yeah. I think, Notre Dame, North Carolina, there's a lot of things that you could do, but I just, no one is ever going to convince me that, and I'll never forget the interview I did with Gene after, that Rutgers and Maryland were ever going to amount to anything. I don't get a lot of things right, but I did have that one right. They were not going to do anything in football for a long, long time, and that's been the case.
We'll stay in the YouTube chat. John asks, hey, guys, do you plan out your meals for the week or kind of do it day by day? He adds, my wife has always done it day by day, and he's a big plan the meals out guy.
So I do 90% of the cooking around here. So I guess I don't plan them out in the sense of like Tuesday we're going to have this, Wednesday we're going to have this. You have to be flexible when you have children and youth sports because there's a lot of times where it's like, hey, man, we just need to grab some Chipotle and call it a day. Like there's a lot of days when that happens because there just isn't time and we're not all in the same place. But in non-spring sports season where we have more of a locked-in schedule, I buy all of I go grocery shopping Sunday morning. I go to Costco and then I go to the grocery store. I get everything on Sunday morning, and then I know that I'm making like these 5 things throughout the week. I don't know what day, but I know I know that these are the things that we're going to have for dinner that week.
So normally I've always been a day-by-day guy because my set schedule is so crazy, and now I have a set schedule. And even with that, I feel like my schedule has been pretty nuts with football and Blue Jackets and state tournaments and all of that. But really, these past few weeks, it seems like it's the first time my schedule is there. So I think I mentioned this past weekend, I did cook a lot of food for the week that involved a lot of steak, thankfully, and some other things. So I'm hoping to maybe be more of a planner here throughout the summer months, but we'll see how that goes.
SK asks in the YouTube chat, which reality-style television show would you prefer to compete in? A cooking competition, a physical survival competition, or a trivia-style game show?
I think I would love to do The Amazing Race. I know that wasn't an option, but I think I would love to do that. What was it?
That physical survival style? It's there.
I guess. Okay, that's the one I want to do. I want to do that one.
So
I want to do The Amazing Race.
There may have been a time in my life when I wanted to try something physical in a reality show, but I think that time has passed for me. I'd love to do a cooking competition. I've talked about, like, I enjoy cooking. I wish I had more of a kitchen for that, like just working in a kitchen that those reality shows have, I think would be amazing. So I think I'd like to try my hand at some kind of cooking competition.
I'm going to tell you right now, if you travel across the country routinely on planes with 5 people, including 3 children, you do The Amazing Race every time you get on a plane. So I'm ready for that. I'm primed for that. Say when.
That's a promo, Baker. Nathan asks on Twitter, across the 4 pro sports, what's the best uniform and the worst uniform?
The best uniform? Well, I think you can do this almost by... So the best NFL uniform to me is the Las Vegas Raiders. I love that it's just 2 colors. When you see it, it's just perfect. And to me, that the best uniform in the NFL is the Raiders. Worst uniform in the NFL. Let me look at some of these. Well, I think like Denver, because they had
Denver's
a chance
awful.
to crush it, and they blew it, boys.
Denver's
so big.
awful.
Yeah, I mean, they should have just worn what they used to wear. That's kind of the only one current. Atlanta's is bad when they don't wear the throwbacks. Like that one's stupid with the ATL and the gradient and all that nonsense. You know, those, excuse me, those are bad. Who's your favorite NFL, Bake?
My favorite NFL, and it's not a popular one. I love, and I always have, the Tennessee Titans, probably from when Eddie George was there, when they wore the dark navy pants and the light baby blue jersey.
Oh, my gosh.
I've always loved that uniform.
All right, NBA, best Lakers. I mean, some of this is just synonymous. That's the other thing. Like, how much of a great uniform is just it being synonymous with winning?
And how can you go against some of the all-time hockey jerseys, right? Like the Blackhawks and the Maple Leafs and the Red Wings. I mean, some of those are so classic.
I think the ones that are, what I really like about some of the hockey ones that you mentioned, whether it's the Red Wings or the Leafs, is it's just two colors. It's just blue and white, red and white. They didn't add anything to it. It's just these two colors. These are our colors. All the original sixes are great in hockey. I'll be curious to see what the hockey club does with theirs and how they manage it.
I'll say this. You give me baby blue, Carolina blue, and a baseball uniform, I don't care who it is. I'm all in. I don't know
Royals,
why, but that works.
Yeah, that's pretty good. My favorite baseball ones are Yankees and Dodgers. Those I don't know. Is there anybody in baseball that's like got it wrong? They're all pretty simple. There's not much there.
You could say maybe the Padres when they do the brown and yellow. It's almost like a bulldog though. It's so ugly. It's cute.
I like it. I think it's great, and I think it's distinctive. I think that one's good. That seems to be pretty popular too, right?
It seems to be, yes, because of the kind of the throwback. I think the worst baseball uniforms of all time, and thankfully they've gone away from them, were the Astros jerseys of the Bagwell-Biggio era.
Oh, yeah.
I think those were terrible.
Like the navy blue with the soft gold just randomly.
I wonder if Tyler's a big Astros fan, or a digital guy. I wonder what he thinks about those, because I think they were god-awful.
Yeah, they never wanted them, which is kind of nice. The NFL has actually gotten rid of, like, they had that whole run of, like, when they were done by Reebok, and they had all those uniforms that were done there that all had the weird piping. All that's gone. So there aren't any in that. Yeah, the baby blues become a cheat code. Like the Blue Jays wear it now. The Kansas City wears it now.
Phillies go back to it.
Yeah, in the 80s, a lot of them did. They almost used it instead of a gray because the Phillies used it, the Cardinals used it, the Royals, the Blue Jays. Who am I missing that used the baby blue also? There's a bunch of them.
The Tampa Bay Rays have a baby blue. Yeah. It's not all, but the jersey that's really nice.
Brewers have a baby blue as well. I think the Braves have a baby blue at one point, like Dale Murphy Braves.
I don't know, but that Braves throwback with the royal blue and the white, that's pretty daggone undefeated.
Yeah, they crushed it. There's a lot of good ones out there. Most of it, I think, is synonymous with winning, though. Like you have success in it, and then you love the look of the uniform. It's hard to have a great uniform amidst losing. It's a difficult task, for sure.
Ace asks in the YouTube chat, what old fast food item that's gone away do you wish was still around? He cites KFC's potato wedges as an example.
Do you guys have one? There's not. I'm trying to think if there's anything. I don't eat much fast food at all. Trying to think of if there is something that I used to eat that is gone. Do you have anything?
So the one that I always had on there was the stacker at Taco Bell, but that's back now, and it's been back for the past few months. So I'm pretty happy that that's back. I don't know if I have one that I'm just like, gosh, I wish I had that back.
You know, I've never had a McRib. Never had it. I've never had that. I've never had a filet of fish. There's a lot of those ones that are like the McDonald's ones that are kind of on the periphery, and everyone goes nuts when the McRib comes back. I've never had it. I don't think I have one.
I'd say it's all right.
It's gone away.
You're not missing out on the McRib. The McSalad shakers from McDonald's were pure chaos.
The McPizza.
In the 2000s.
How about that? Let's go McPizza.
McPizza? Was it good?
I don't remember. I was young. It's pizza, though,
You probably
right? Even
really
bad
enjoyed
pizza is good.
Yeah. Does Taco Bell still do the Mexican pizza?
They do not, I don't believe. It's something they bring back once in a while.
Yeah, I used to suck down a Mexican pizza about 25 years ago. I'd have one of those.
All right, we got to pick a winner.
That's my answer. All right, was it John in the YouTube? Did he have the meal planning?
He did.
All right, let's go, John. John, congratulations. You get the $50 gift card to our great friends at High Bank. You will enjoy that, the distillery tour and the tasting for up to 10. When you're talking about High Bank, you're talking about the 3 locations in Gahanna, Grandview, and Westerville. Enjoy those award-winning spirits for your next happy hour and make your reservation at highbankco.com. Drink local. Drink High Bank. 50 biggest draft busts, according to our guest at 11:30, Nate Davis. We're the biggest busts in our opinion. By the way, several Buckeyes on this list. We will get to that coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Winners of the prestigious Platinum Microphone Award every year, given to the best radio station in the world. No need to look it up. It's real. The Fan.
Care Heating and Cooling. Honest technicians, honest pricing. Call 1-800-COOLING.
Looking to sell your home? Don't pay 6% commission. Call my guys at Sell for 1% Realtors. They're full service, not a do-it-yourself kind of thing. On average, customers save over $10,000. Give them a call, 614-451-6616. That's 451-6616.
Thinking about buying your first home? Now, with Third Federal, you can buy your first home and pay no PMI. Hi, I'm Mark Stefanski, Chairman and CEO of Third Federal. Private mortgage insurance, or PMI, can cost thousands of dollars over the life of your loan. And you may not realize PMI doesn't protect you. It only protects the lender in case of default. But at Third Federal, you can buy a home with just 5% down and no PMI. Plus, first-time home buyers get $750 off a closing cost. So if you're thinking about buying your first home, go for it and visit thirdfederal.com.
Even before you find a home, lock in 6.625%, APR 6.685% on a 30-year fixed-rate purchase mortgage. Visit thirdfederal.com or call 1-800-3rd-FED today. APR reflects 15% down for $350,000 loan amount. Rate requires automatic payment program and is subject to change. Restrictions apply. See conditions for closing cost coupon at thirdfederal.com/FTHB. Equal housing lender.
You can stream the game on your phone while you're gardening. You can stream it while you walk the dog. You can stream it at a trampoline park. You can even stream it at a monster truck rally. But the second you get behind the wheel, the game's over. Remember, Ohio, phones down. It's the law.
Hey, it's Anthony. Of course, I sit and do the show 3 hours a day. But after that, I'm looking to get things done and enjoy the spring weather. So I want to be on my feet a lot, playing golf, working out, just moving around. I was introduced to the Good Feet store because my feet were aching way too often. And what I found there is a 3-step custom arch support system that has me feeling awesome. My personally fit arch supports have helped realign my feet, reposition my body into a more ideal position, and not only that, strengthen my feet to help support me. It's made all the difference in how I feel every day. The Good Feet store is going to help you where you need relief and find the arch supports that work best for you. And when you wear them as a system, their arch supports are more effective at long-term pain reduction and elimination. So go in, take the free test walk. Good Feet arch supports are immediately available. Their products are proudly made in the USA. They're on Polaris Parkway and on Stringtown Road in Grove City, or at goodfeet.com.
It's time for the draft, friends. Join the Fan live from the ESPN Bet Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino. All the fun starts Thursday at 7. First round at 8. Scotty Vegas passes out at 9. Be there. The Fan.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614 614-470-2000. Would it be convenient for you if you could simply take what you wanted and leave the rest behind? Great, I'll buy it. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family, apartment buildings, rental portfolios. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Call TurboTrack Realty today for an all-cash offer and speak with one of our friendly staff members at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
We'll see temperatures that reached near 80 this afternoon under sunny skies, mostly clear tonight, falling into the mid-50s. We'll start your Thursday off nice and dry, low 80s in the afternoon, but pop-up showers and storms become a possibility. Rain chances will continue into Friday with falling temperatures by the weekend. That's your latest 10 weather impact forecast. I'm meteorologist Michael Behrens on 97.1 The Fan.
If you haven't thought about Buckeye football today, I'm sorry to tell you that you're dead. Our condolences. Your home of the Buckeyes, The Fan. Connect with the show on X at 971BFS. Jump in our YouTube chat or just send a raven. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
50 biggest NFL draft busts over the last 50 years. Our guest at 11:30, Nate Davis, with this list. So he's got Leaf at number one. And as I've said many times, I knew Ryan in high school. Buddies of mine were very close to him in college, went to a couple of Washington State games to watch him play while he was on the Palouse. And the idea that it didn't go well for him was pretty obvious and he's admitted this, based on the person he was at this time. But you have to also remember that in those days, you did not have the access to these players. You didn't know as much about these players. They weren't on social media. You were trying to learn secondhand coaches, players, what they thought of them. And Leaf had a remarkable season in 1997. The reason, or 1998 was the draft, the 97 season, the year Michigan won the national title with Charles Woodson. They played them in the Rose Bowl of that game. The reason I can't have Leaf 1 is that Leaf didn't go number 1. He went 2. And he didn't get picked over Peyton Manning. He was picked after Peyton Manning, number 2 by the Chargers. Now, what Nate says here is true. San Diego had to give up to move from 3 to 2 to get him. They moved into Arizona spots as number 2 to get him. And the freight, he writes, that the Cardinals commanded aside from the switch was a second rounder, an additional first and 99, and 2 vets in Eric Metcalf and Patrick Sapp. So that's why he has Leaf at number 1. But to me, the biggest NFL draft bust is Jamarcus Russell. He went number 1 overall in 2007 to the Raiders. It was not a great quarterback draft anyway. BQ was in that draft, Kevin Kolb in that draft, John Beck, Drew Stanton, that's some of them. Russell, as he writes, began his career with a lengthy holdout, never fulfilled. He only started 25. He lost 18 of his 25 starts. He is the famous story about Jamarcus Russell is the coaching staff gave him tape to watch. And there was nothing on the tape, okay? So they entrapped him, and they said, tell us what you saw on the tape. And he explained what he saw on the tape, except the tape was blank. So that's the story of Jamarcus Russell, that he was just unwilling to watch film at all, or even throw it into in those days, the VCR or the DVD or whatever you were doing to watch it in 07, that he was just not interested at all. Number 2 on his list is Tony Mandrich. So Russell's 3, Leafs 1, Mandrich is 2. I'm old enough to remember the Sports Illustrated cover story called The Incredible Bulk. I remember this vividly. I remember getting this issue. I loved the draft issue of Sports Illustrated in those days. Dr. Z would put his mock draft together, and he was the Incredible Bulk. And he ended up going number 2 overall. Now, the reason I think you could make the argument that Mandrich even deserves to be higher is not who was drafted in front of him. Number 1 in that draft was Troy Aikman, but rather who Green Bay passed up on immediately after. Let me tell you, you tell me if you've heard of these guys. This is who Green Bay passed up at number 2 in the 1989 draft. Barry Sanders, Derek Thomas, Deion Sanders.
Decent?
All gold jackets.
Oops.
All gold jackets. That's a tough beat. That is a very tough beat. Now, Green Bay got Favre and a theft, and it all worked. But, man, That is a brutal one. When you pass up 3 Hall of Famers to take Mandrich. The thing about Mandrich, there's a little bit of Steve Empton in his game too. Different positions. Empton was a defensive tackle, but it was injuries that caused them a lot of stuff. And the other thing that was always swirling around Mandrich was the steroid stuff. That once they started testing for that, then that would be something that would be difficult for him to overcome. And a lot of things led to it. A couple of modern guys he's got on his list. He's got Trey Lance at number 4. He's got Zach Wilson at number 4, who was 2nd overall. He's got Mac Jones at number 4. He's actually got 4 number 4s. He's got Justin Fields on this list as well. I'll talk to him about Fields. He actually has Jeff George number 5 on this list. But the one thing I'll say on Fields was 11th overall. Mac Jones was 15th overall. That's a little bit different than if you're being picked at the top of the draft, the way Zach Wilson was and the way Trey Lance was. Trey Lance, that decision, they had Jimmy Garoppolo. He had some injuries, but Jimmy Garoppolo was there. Kyle Shanahan went all in on Lance. And as big in as can be, they traded up to be able to get him. They drafted him. I don't know if Kyle Shanahan or John Lynch are still around in San Francisco, if not for in that same draft they landed with the very last pick, Brock Purdy. I think they're both probably fired, if not for Purdy. If he's not great, it's a fireable offense, what they gave up to get Lance and how big they missed. But Purdy bailed him out.
Yeah, not facing any real consequences because of that decision to just give up all of that for Trey Lance. Then you're okay with keeping your jobs because, well, they at least got in on this guy, but it's just luck. But
it's just dumb luck.
So much of it, I'd feel like in the NFL is, especially when you're talking about the draft and picking. I've always thought of a true bust as being the first overall pick, or some examples that Nate gives in here, decisions instead of taking number 1, like the Jets in 1997 deciding to trade down, or the Baltimore Colts in '83 deciding to pick John Elway, despite I think the threat that I'll just play baseball, dude. Don't pick me. And they're like, oh, we're going to pick you. How did you think that could have gone any other way but that?
Nate has a bunch of those in here, Reese. I mean, he's got Cousineau drafted number 1 by the Bills. Then he went to play in the CFL. He's got Bo Jackson being drafted by the Buccaneers, number 1 in '86. Remember, Bo told them.
People forget that.
People forget it all the time. Bo told it in his 30 for 30. He got on a plane to Tampa. And because he got on the plane to Tampa, it was viewed by the NCAA as impermissible benefits. And he was ruled ineligible for his senior season of baseball at Auburn. And he held that against the Buccaneers and the owner, Hugh Culverhouse, who did that. And he said, do not draft me. I will not sign. And he meant it. He meant it. They drafted him number 1 overall. He did not sign. He ended up going to play baseball for the Kansas City Royals, and then it ended up with the Raiders in '87, who they drafted him the next year. So that was a totally wasted number 1 overall pick. And Bo said, do not pick me. I will not sign, because he was so bitter that they cost him his senior year of baseball at Auburn.
I have a tough time calling that a draft bust, though, because Bo Jackson, had he not got injured, would have been a Hall of Famer. And I understand it didn't work out for the team, but I guess I don't consider that a bust. Bo, I'm with you. Jamarcus Russell is number 1. And I think it's pretty far out there that he's number 1. And I think number 2, you talked about it. I think because of what they gave up and what it became, I think Trey Lance may be number 2, because if you remember, they gave up the world to the Dolphins, and the Dolphins used that. They turned that trade into Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Bradley Chubb.
Yes. Yeah, the Niners could have just stayed with those players. They could have got Tyreek Hill. They could have done it. They could have just done that. I mean, Brock Purdy provides them with a ton of cover. I think Fields is tough for me to call a bust because he's still in the league and he's had about as bad a spot in terms of a position to play as you're going to find. Mac Jones is a little bit different because he's played a lot and it doesn't look right. It looks right sometimes for Field. He has Lawrence Phillips on this list, 6th overall. There's a lot to that one. I don't know if there's ever going to be a 30 for 30 on Lawrence Phillips, but it would not be a fun watch if there is. The life choices are just absolutely horrific on that side of things. Couple other ones that one other thing I wanted to jump in. Oh, Robert Griffin III. I don't know if I can go there either because he was the rookie of the year in the league and then got hurt. And so once he got hurt, it took away kind of what he did well. So I don't know if I can go there either. But what I'm going to ask him, and I'm going to ask him this in 2 minutes, is in your research, is there a correlation? Is there some common ground between what becomes a bust and what does not? Nate Davis in 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use, now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
Bo Bishop here. High Bank Distillery Co. is the most awarded distillery in America at the 2024 San Francisco World Spirits Competition. Stop by your local liquor store to grab a bottle, or the 3 restaurant locations in Gahanna, Grandview, or Westerville. Dine, drink, distill at High Bank.
Welcome to Cane's. It's Luke Bryan. What can I get you? Today I'm raising funds with Raising Cane's and my buddy Todd Graves for the Brett Boyer Foundation. Great food
and a great cause. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers
and the Brett Boyer Foundation.
One love.
Common Man here for Weed Man. I always have the greenest lawn in the neighborhood. It's luscious. I swear by 2 things, water and Weed Man. Weed Man is locally owned and operated by Corbin and Audrey. They will make sure your lawn is weed-free and looking gorgeous. Of course, they get rid of weeds, but they also do aeration, mosquito control, grub control, crabgrass prevention, and flea and tick control for your 4-legged friends. For a free quote, give them a call, 614-733-3747, weedmanusa.com. Tell them Common Man sent you.
I can't wait to meet her. Oh my gosh.
Put your hands together for new Dr. Pepper Blackberry and Dr. Pepper Blackberry Zero Sugar.
There she is! Woohoo! Yeah! It's full Dr. Pepper!
With sweet blackberry flavor!
Dr. Pepper Blackberry, I'm obsessed with your succulent taste. Please marry me!
No! Marry me! Marry me or I'm gonna freak out!
Try new Dr. Pepper Blackberry.
It's a pepper thing!
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Cellar, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
First Friday miracles are always better with Uncle Bo. This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, it's time to head on the Brian Heating Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. Conversation with good buddy Nate Davis, USA Today. Nate, thanks, buddy. Your 50 worst pick bust column was a great conversation piece in the last segment. What made you decide to do it, and then how did you quantify when you're getting at the top? Because mine would have probably been Russell at number 1, but I certainly understand your vantage point. What made you decide to put where a lot of these guys were busts? What made this bust bigger than another?
Yeah, but I did it a few years ago, and I update it every so often. But like I try to actually contextualize some of these busts, like with how bad they actually are outside of just the players. And I had Brian Leaf number 1, but I think what people forget sometimes is that the Chargers, not only did they take him in number 2, they traded up to get him like from 3, and they gave up like a first-round pick and a third-round pick, and I think some players to do that. Like some of these are just not only poor picks, but the mechanics behind some of them to get these players just shockingly bad, and that was just obviously Ryan Leaf is considered one of the biggest busts of all time, but the Chargers actually also had to do some work to get there. So those are kind of my favorite ones.
The Mandrich one is just unbelievable, not because they picked him at 2, but because what came right after him.
Yeah, 3 Hall of Famers in a row. Troy Aikman.
Jeez.
So, like, you had 80% shot. Well, yeah, I guess, they didn't really have a shot at Aikman, but they had a 75% shot at a Hall of Famer there in the first 5 picks, and they whiffed.
Is there a common denominator? I mean, you've been doing this a long time, and this is such a tough thing. It's such an inexact science. It's so subjective. Teams get pulled one way or another. Sometimes they have boards, and then on the day of the draft, it all goes to hell. Belichick's told that story about Logan Mankins, how their whole draft blew up, and he's like, well, we got to pick somebody, pick Mankins, and he worked out quite well. So, like, is there, as you've been doing this as long as you have, is there any common denominator with teams that miss in the draft or that causes there to be busts where maybe there shouldn't be?
I think some of it, probably the closest I can say is organizational. I mean, I've got the Jets on there quite a few times. I've got quite a few lumpings of Browns. The infamous 22nd pick quarterback to the Browns, who I think was Wheaton, Manziel. I think Brady Quinn, but the Trent Richardson. There are other examples of them throughout. The Bears have not been very good, kind of in the last couple of decades. So, a guy like Cade McNown didn't even make the list. He was overshadowed by the Achilles Smith pick that year. This list could go a lot deeper, but I think kind of in doing it, I would say the biggest thing is you see some teams that really don't show up at all, and others that show up quite frequently. Bengals would be another one, but not so much in recent years.
Yeah, it is. There's a pretty correlation between missing in the draft and losing. Those two things kind of go hand in hand. Yeah. It's pretty obvious. The other thing I noticed in this list, and this is something that's going to be a big topic of conversation in the next 24 hours or so, is there's a quarterback tax to be paid. Now, it seems like Cam Ward's going number 1 to Tennessee. It's not even much of a secret anymore it's been that way for the last week or so. But there is a quarterback tax to be paid. There has been all of this conjecture around Shadur Sanders, and even today, character concerns coming up. What do you make of how Shadur Sanders and his draft process has been covered, how it's been talked about?
Yeah, I feel like this is kind of an annual thing too, where some guys just seem to attract, the negative smoke, and certainly he's kind of that guy. This year, I was working with one of my colleagues, Josh Peter, who wrote a nice piece about that. You can go to USA Today's website and kind of read, kind of some of the scathing stuff that's been said about Shadur. Not surprisingly, on Twitter and elsewhere, and not necessarily by the most highly regarded draft experts, but. I think a lot of it, again, if his name was, I think it's been said many times, if his name was Shadur Jones, we probably wouldn't be talking about him, and there probably wouldn't be all this criticism of him, but, he might also be comfortably regarded as a second-round pick, and people wouldn't be so, up in arms about it. But, I think that has a lot to do with it, and just kind of the attention his dad draws, I don't think helps him, even though it seems like his dad has really been, Deion, by all accounts, has been a great father to him. And certainly he's had a career. And I don't know. I think he kind of started out being a little overhyped as a prospect. I think now the pendulum has probably swung too far the other way. But I think he is going to be, good or bad, indifferent. The story of the first round probably.
Yeah, seems like that's the way it's going to go. Nate Davis, USA Today, joining us on the Brian Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Nate, this is the first time ever, in the modern era at least, that all of the teams hold their first-round picks and there have been no trades. We're a little more than a day out. That's still the case. Do you think that there will be some excitement leading into tomorrow and potentially some trades? What are you hearing on that front?
Yeah, I think absolutely. There's going to be some movement on Thursday night. I think a lot of kind of the pre-draft trades that kind of shake things up a lot of the time are generally because the team's trying to get in position for a quarterback. And there's just not the supply of quarterbacks this year that are worthy of that. It sounds like the Titans got some offers for number 1. Even then, it seems like Cam Ward might have been the 7th best quarterback a year ago. So it seems like there's certainly some supply and demand benefit for him being the guy this year. But it tells you that kind of given that relative value, that the Titans even willing to come off that number 1 pick and miss a shot at taking him. So anyway, long answer to your question is I'm sure you're going to see some movement Thursday night, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's teams are maybe coming up for one of the tackles. The fun part would be if somebody maybe tries to come up and get a Rashad Genty, and I think maybe Colson Loveland and Tyler Warren are the guys to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I think you're probably right on those names. It does seem like the Browns are going Travis Hunter at 2. Andrew Berry, the general manager, being pretty open with it. I guess when you're at 2 and the quarterback's going at 1, you can kind of just talk frankly. But he's going to be a wide receiver primarily, and then he's going to minor in defense if they do indeed take him. What do you make of that plan for Hunter?
I think it's probably right. I get a little uncomfortable when people want to categorize Travis Hunter as kind of a number 1 receiver and a number 1 corner. He's a fantastic player. He's a unique player. But I think he fits in with the Browns well, because I think And maybe he turns into the number one receiver. You know, we'll see. I mean, he's got fantastic hands and coordination and that kind of thing. But I think he can maybe comfortably be kind of number two. You know, he could be Robin to Jerry Jeudy. He could be Robin to Denzel Ward. But I do get a little concerned about his size, which is kind of in that 185, 190 range. I mean, are we really going to ask him to be a starting receiver in this division? And I'm not saying the Browns would do this, but I mean, people shouldn't then expect him to go out and try to deal with beasts like DK Metcalf and Jamar Chase and, even Rashad Bateman to a degree. So I don't know. I hope expectations for Travis Hunter don't get outlandish, but the fact that he's going to come in and be a two-way player, with any degree of regularity at all, certainly is impressive. But I just hope people aren't expecting him to be lockdown corner and Jamar Chase at the same time.
Yeah, probably it's a lot to ask of anybody. Yeah. You mentioned Genty earlier. He seems to be a consensus top 5 player, and you do the blue chip thing. Like there's 5 or 6 blue chips. He's always mentioned as one of them. We have been told, okay, you don't take a running back in the first round. Saquon Barkley kind of proved what can happen when you do, but there's plenty of misses out there too. How high do you think he goes? Do you think he gets by, for example, Raiders at 6 or Jacksonville at 5?
So I'm taking credit for this Genty to the Jags thing because I mocked that like 10 days ago.
Nice.
And now everybody's doing it.
We'll give it to you.
Yeah. Let me have my small victory there. Yeah. But I mean, to me, it makes so much sense because I mean, just contractually, Travis Etienne's in the last year of his contract and coming off a bad year. But I mean, I think what we learned about the running backs last year is that I think it's fine to take him high as long as you don't have the expectation, as with Saquon, that you're going to build your whole team and offense around him, as the Giants did, and hope that works. I mean, I think it's much easier to build your passing game and offense and then drop the running back in, which is what the Eagles did. I think it's a lot easier if you're an opponent to stack a box of 9 guys and stop a running back. And basically waste his early years or his best years of his career, which fortunately, Saquon got the second chance to play on a good team. But I think the Jags, there's talent there. I mean, certainly they've just hired an offensive coach. I think at this point we could say Trevor Lawrence isn't the second coming of John Elway or Peyton Manning, but they've got Brian Thomas, they've got Gabe Davis, they've got some other good receivers there. I think the best way you can support a quarterback that you've already paid $275 million to, or that contract anyway, is to give him a game-changing running back, and I think that opens up all kinds of possibilities for them. So I think that makes a lot of sense. But you're also not asking Genty to carry your team. So I think that's to me, that's a real win-win spot for everybody.
I'll get you out of here on this one, buddy. Do you really believe that the Pittsburgh Steelers don't know Aaron Rodgers' intent going into the draft tomorrow?
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. Aaron Rodgers, we're coming up. When was the draft in Cleveland? 2021, right, Bo? It was 4 years?
Yeah, yep.
And that draft started out on Thursday afternoon, 2021, with the news that Rodgers was happy in Green Bay, right? And then that was the first card to fall, in him winning the MVPs, but being unhappy and miserable in Green Bay before finally leaving. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he's kind of enjoying the limelight here. The latest smokescreen theory, I thought, or whatever, is he's waiting to see that the Steelers don't draft Shadur Sanders before he commits to him. And then maybe he won't if they decide to take him or Jackson Dart or whatever. So, the answer to your question is I wouldn't be shocked if they don't have a concrete answer from him quite yet.
It's going to be fun tomorrow. Look forward to following you and all your storytelling along the way, buddy. And good job on that. We'll get always full credit on Ashton Genty to the Jaguars will be given to you, my friend. Thanks for your time today.
Good catching up, Bo. Take care.
All right, there he goes. Nate Davis, USA Today, NFL. His really fun column on the 50 worst picks in the 50 years of the draft and kind of everything that he adds to it every year. So check that out at USA Today. And, of course, he'll be all over it all weekend long as the NFL draft is set for tomorrow. You're officially endorsed in 3 things. Up next, Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
We're the highest rated sports radio station in America. There's no joke there. We just are. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Steel, walk behind, zero turn, and stand on mowers are built to get the job done. Shop online or at your local Steel dealer. Steel, let's go mow.
For over 78 years, our family's been part of your love stories. At Diamond Seller, we offer bigger diamonds, better prices, and timeless designs for every chapter of your life. From your first yes to your forever I do, trust the jeweler who knows diamonds best. Visit Diamond Seller today.
And the top overall pick in this year's draft is the ESPN Bet Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Columbus. That's right, it's number one in my heart. This is Scotty Vegas, and we're hosting a special draft show and watch party starting at 7 p.m. Thursday, April 24th for the first round of the draft. Watch and place wagers on the picks with over 30 kiosks, contests, prizes, and a live show at 7 at the ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older to enter. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Many drugs, like cocaine, methamphetamine, and non-prescription pills, are often cut with dangerous opioids like fentanyl. As a result, nearly 14 Ohioans die daily from unintentional overdoses. That's why it's important to carry naloxone, such as Narcan, a life-saving medication that blocks the effects of fentanyl and other opioids. Over the last 5 years, naloxone has saved over 83,000 lives. Help save lives and visit naloxone.ohio.gov to learn more and find free naloxone. Remember, if you see an overdose occurring, always call 911.
My house has a new glow. I love my windows. Universal Windows Direct.
Buy 2 windows, get 2 free. No limit. Pay no interest till 2030 plus $500 off your home improvement project. Restrictions apply. Call them today. 614-502-5220. Like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
I love my windows. They've got that brand new home effect. Universal Windows Direct.
Master Grillers Unite. The grilling season never ends at Billiards Plus. Come see their best-in-class grills for yourself and check out Central Ohio's largest selection of pool tables, game furniture, and shuffleboard. Family-owned and operated. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
I can't sleep.
What is it now?
It's the company. It's chaos.
What's chaos now?
The numbers, the expenses, the books. What if we get audited?
No one's going to audit you at 3 a.m. Go to sleep.
I can't sleep.
You could if you used Ramp.
Who said that?
I don't care because they're right. Go to sleep and sign up for Ramp in the morning, Jerry.
Ramp is the corporate card that handles all your tedious financial operations automatically, integrates directly with your ERP, and gives you complete control over every transaction. Ramp gives you everything you need for bulletproof books and a better night's sleep.
Wow. That is exactly what my company needs.
Yes, and exactly what I also need. Go to sleep, Jerry.
Upgrade to Ramp for free today and get $250 at ramp.com/radio. Ramp.com/radio. That's ramp.com/radio.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
Bobby Carpenter is packing up morning juice and headed to YouTube. Catch Bobby and Tito on the Fan's YouTube page weekday mornings from 6 to 8.
All the fun starts on May 12th.
More Bobby, less commercials. Attack and dominate. The Fan.
Attention kingdom-seeking business professionals, entrepreneurs, and investors in Columbus. Are you ready to experience a life-changing event that will elevate your faith, finances, and future in 2025? Then you won't want to miss this. Join us for Life Search, featuring Champions of Faith, Saturday, May 10th at the Schottenstein Center for an extraordinary one-day event that will empower you to transform every area of your life through the power of faith. Prepare to be inspired by an incredible lineup of champions, including college football champions Jeremiah Smith and Caleb Downs, 3-time national champion head coach Urban Meyer, sportscaster Kirk Herbstreit, 2-time national football champion Tim Tebow, and more. These champions have experienced firsthand how faith transforms lives, and they'll be joining Life Search to share their powerful stories and insights on how to integrate faith into your business, finances, and every aspect of your journey. Seats are selling fast to this unforgettable event, so don't wait. Head to lifesearch.com now to secure your tickets before they're gone. Life Search featuring Champions of Faith, Saturday, May 10th at the Schottenstein Center. Don't miss out. Your transformation begins here. Visit lifesearch.com today.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Columbus, Worthington, Air, and Bryant. Doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
After putting up with Dom Tiberi for a decade, the broadcast gods gave Bo these two. This is Bishop and Friends.
Hi, Reese. What do you have on the poll?
Daily Fan Poll sponsored by Caster Connection, and it asks, how many games will the Cavs Heat playoff series go? Game 2 is tonight at 7:30 in Cleveland. 4, 5, 6, or 7 are the options. 64% say it's going to be the gentleman's sweep. 23% say the Cavs will get the sweep. 11% say it's going to go 6, and just a percent of you responding to the Daily Fan Poll sponsored by Caster Connection say it's going to go all 7.
You kind of just want to get to Indy, right?
Yep.
Let's just get to that point, and then I think you're on to something there. All right, it is a First Friday time. You're officially endorsed. Hit it, fellas.
Bishop and Friends present First Friday, officially endorsed, because everyone deserves 2 Fridays.
You drink for the wrong reasons. My generation, we drink because it's good, because it feels better than unbuttoning your collar, because we deserve it. We drink because it's what men do.
All right, this week, so it dropped last week. There are still some out there at the 3 locations. It is worthy of your attention. It is High Bank Bourbon. Adam and the company, they waited a long time. They want to make sure they did it right. They really did with this. It is spectacular. There are hints of caramel and honey. It's got everything that you want. It's lovely this time of year. I tell you what, it's got a lot of the notes of a cocktail as it starts to get warmer. It's warm in here right now. Like, you do this with a little bit of a twist, a lemon twist over rocks, and you're set up for what is a lovely cocktail in the warmer times of the year, and we're kind of in the middle of that right now. So that is good enough, certainly, for your officially endorsed High Bank Bourbon, your award winner this week on your officially endorsed. Time for 3 things on a First Friday. Hit it, guys.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3 things.
Sponsored by Buckeye Lake Marina, Central Ohio's largest selection of new and pre-owned boats. Find your next dream boat at BuckeyeLakeMarina.com.
All right. Number 1 for me, as you could probably start to hear, the voice crackling a little bit, and I've had to cough and clear my throat a couple of times. This is just the reality. Allergies suck, and it's just one more kind of example of April sucking. Like, we've had some really nice days here, but by and large, it's a tease, and then you get the pollen that comes at the end. This is a bad month, man. It's a bad month. Admittedly, we've had some great days, but now all of a sudden I've got runny nose. Yesterday I had a bloody nose because of it. It's awful, awful.
To the Daily Fan Poll that asked the amount of games it'll take the Cavaliers to dismiss the Heat from the first round of the playoffs, I think it's more likely you're going to get the Pacers sweeping the Bucks than you will the Cavs getting a clean sweep on the Miami Heat. Indiana leads that series 2-0, so that's likely Cleveland's opponent in the second round. Cavs Heat Game 2 tonight, 7:30. It's on NBA TV, which is odd because the other 2 playoff games are on Max, TNT. If Max is interested in having live sports, I think would make the most sense, or I think it would make the most sense to have every game in the NBA playoffs offered on your Max streaming service, in addition to everything else that it offers, if you're truly trying to get the most out of those monthly subscribers.
Yeah.
My first thing, to piggyback off of yours, Bo, and I know we talked about this before, but when I was over in Dayton for the state basketball tournaments, one of the things that we love to do, all of the broadcasters, is we love to hang out at an establishment or just down in the hotel lobby or near the hotel bar, and all of us hanging out and telling war stories. So I took the newly purchased bottle of High Bank one of the weekends over with me to Dayton. So people don't just have to take our word for it. I gave it to some of the guys there. They had some. I had 2 people reach out to me after and asking again, what was that bourbon you had and gave us? So it's not just us that are saying this is good stuff.
Adam knows what he's doing. Those guys know what they're doing at High Bank. It is known, certainly. Number 2 for me. So NBC is just stealing from his brothers now. You remember I told the story about how he was selling the baseball cards and actually made, like, crazily enough, several $1,000s doing it? And I'm like, it's interesting that you ended up with, like, all of the best cards were ones that were yours and not your brother's. Well, now he comes down. Amy and I were watching a show last night, and he comes down and he goes, hey, I got a $50 gift card to Amazon. And I said, oh, you did? Where'd that come from? I found it in a drawer. Yeah? What drawer? In my room. Interesting. Very interesting. And so he goes upstairs, and she's like, whatever. So he goes upstairs, and I said, you are aware he's just stealing stuff from his brothers and selling it. Like, that's what's happening here. I mean, it's just blatant theft. is what he's doing on a regular basis. And when I call him on it, he's like, not true, Buster. And I'm like, kindly leave. Just kindly leave. But he's definitely stealing.
I'm sure you'd argue he's just reinvesting their assets.
He's an entrepreneur.
Quite
Dude,
the
he's buying stock. There's some app that he's buying stock on. I don't even know what the hell. By the way, not a great, I mean, maybe a great time. We'll see. But, jeez.
Welcome to Cleveland, Will Wilson. Speaking of stock, the 26-year-old is going to make his Major League Baseball debut at third base today as the Guardians look for their 6th win in a row and to break out the brooms on the New York Yankees at 110. In 18 games for the Clippers this season, he's got 18 runs batted in. So you want to talk about buying stock, maybe this Will Wilson, just the first of several Clippers or several Rubber Ducks to make their debuts in Cleveland for what should be a successful Cleveland Guardians season. They are back on top of the American League Central.
Don't they have the best record in the American League?
I think so.
Yeah, I think they do.
Day baseball for both the Reds and the Guardians today, coming up at 1:10. My second thing, always go back and listen to the Bishop and Friends podcast if you missed anything. Like yesterday's Tuesday with Taberry, I thought was pretty great. It was all over the place. I cut up a bunch of promos for the show from that. It was that good. But one of the things Dom talked about yesterday was Fish looking like the lead singer from Disturbed, David Draymond. Yeah. Now, the fact that Dom knows who Disturbed is just amazing to me, but most of the people we meet in this business are really good. I think it's like life, the 90-10. 90% of people are good, 10% of people are bad. Well, the former radio station that I used to work at, I got to meet Mr. Draymond 3 times. Not just once, 3 times. Not a good dude.
Oh, no.
Was a jerk every time. And I would use a different word if we weren't on air right now.
Oh, no.
So Dom compared Fish to a jerk, and I don't think Fish is that. So
No, Fish isn't that. No, number 3 to me, we were talking about how the Dallas Cowboys' most valuable franchise, and according to Forbes' list, Forbes has been doing this since the mid-2000s. There are only 3 franchises in professional sports that have held the list, have been atop of that list. The Dallas Cowboys, Real Madrid, and Manchester United. That's it. That's the list. Think how far Man U has fallen in the last 15 years to most valuable franchise in the world to nowhere on the list. Madrid held it up, and it's been the Cowboys since 2016. The Cowboys have had the top of that list. Madrid this year is, I think, 13th.
Final thing, for the point Dom was making about the lead singer for Disturbed, I think Dom just thinks all bald guys look the same. Because if you look at Disturbed's lead singer, he's bald. That's the only comparison he has with Fish.
I don't think I look like Fish.
No.
I don't know. My third thing, Rothman and Ice coming up next. Make sure you stay tuned to that. They will talk to Adam Schefter on the eve of the draft. Also, the final Hockey and Hounds of the season with Zach Werenski.
That is must listen to. Absolutely. Enjoy your first Friday, everybody. We are back tomorrow for an NFL draft version here of Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Matty Ice has a large tattoo on his calf of LeBron eating a lion. I have nothing else to say. Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays from noon to 3.
The Fan.
Military veterans and active duty service members, you could become a certified cyber warrior with just 12 weeks of training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, and IT pros with these skills often enjoy abundant opportunity and a great lifestyle. Protect our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. SkillBridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. Spring is here, and it's time to refresh your yard with Ohio Mulch. With 15 convenient locations in Central Ohio, it's easier than ever to get your mulch ready for the season. Need it delivered? No problem. Save $50 on home delivery when you order online. Whether it's mulch, soil, or even stone, we've got your yard covered. Visit OhioMulch.com today and spruce up your garden with the best.
Ohio Mulch, landscape supply, greener, greener, better.
I can't wait to meet her. Oh my gosh.
Put your hands together for new Dr. Pepper Blackberry and Dr. Pepper Blackberry Zero Sugar.
There she is! Woohoo! Yeah! It's full Dr. Pepper!
With sweet blackberry flavor!
Dr. Pepper Blackberry, I'm obsessed with your succulent taste. Please marry me!
No! Marry me! Marry me, or I'm gonna freak out!
Try new Dr. Pepper Blackberry.
It's a pepper thing!
Forever starts with the perfect diamond. Hi, it's Alex Johnson from the Diamond Cellar, and for over 78 years, our family has helped generations of couples celebrate love with brilliance, quality, and unbeatable prices. At Diamond Cellar, bigger diamonds and better prices are our promise to you. Whether you're popping the question or upgrading your sparkle, trust the experts. Because diamonds, they're our forte. Visit us at Diamond Cellar on Sawmill Road or at Easton Town Center and learn more at diamondcellar.com.
Guys, what's up? It's Matty Ice, and I'm here with Wendy's. And if you're looking for your next sandwich love, check out the Cajun Crunch Chicken Sandwich. This sandwich really has me feeling the heat, and it's packed with bold Cajun flavors that add that perfect little kick. Plus, it's topped with crispy onions that give it a satisfying crunch in every single bite. And did I mention this is all on top of Wendy's iconic spicy chicken sandwich? So if you love that, you have to get your hands on this Cajun Crunch Chicken Sandwich before it's gone. For that little extra kick, it's got to be Wendy's. Open until midnight or later.
Everybody poops, everybody pees. Mommy, will you call Mr. Rooter, please? 'Cause I gotta poop and I gotta pee. Only Mr. Rooter can clear the drain for me. Thank you, Mr. Rooter.
Hi, everybody. We call it what it is at Mr. Rooter. When you have a plumbing or drain problem, the team at Mr. Rooter is ready 7 days a week. Call us today and take advantage of our $95 drain cleaning special. Visit us at MrRooter.com. We'll be there quick.
Attention kingdom-seeking business professionals, entrepreneurs, and investors in Columbus. Are you ready to experience a life-changing event that will elevate your faith, finances, and future in 2025? Then you won't want to miss this. Join us for Life Search, featuring champions of faith, Saturday, May 10th at the Schottenstein Center for an extraordinary one-day event that will empower you to transform every area of your life through the power of faith. Prepare to be inspired by an incredible lineup of champions, including college football champions Jeremiah Smith and Caleb Downs, three-time national champion head coach Urban Meyer, sportscaster Kirk Herbstreit, two-time national football champion Tim Tebow, and more. These champions have experienced firsthand how faith transforms lives, and they'll be joining Life Search to share their powerful stories and insights on how to integrate faith into your business, finances, and every aspect of your journey. Seats are selling fast to this unforgettable event, so don't wait. Head to LifeSearch.com now to secure your tickets before they're gone. Life Search, featuring champions of faith, Saturday, May 10th at the Schottenstein Center. Don't miss out. Your transformation begins here. Visit LifeSearch.com today.
The sports calendar is heating up, and with ESPN Bet Sportsbook, you can go from checking news and stats to placing bets in just a couple of taps. Stream games, bet live, and get exclusive offers when you link your ESPN account. Right now, you can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet app and sign up with promo code JOEQ to get started today. That's JOEQ, Joe Q. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for